It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Monday, September 13th, 2021. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the program. Hope you had a lovely weekend. Hope you're doing well wherever you may be. I had a very nice weekend. Very happy to be back. 2 shows this week. Off last Monday, as you may recall, due to Labor Day. We were back on Wednesday. It was a great show. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate all the support. They shared, I'm not a big numbers guy. I'm not that kind of guy, but they shared some numbers with me recently in terms of the podcast and in terms of how things were doing on the audio side, on the video side. And I'm pretty happy. You're building something new, new feeds, new all that stuff, but the support has been great. And I appreciate everyone who watches live. I appreciate everyone who watches the video replay, downloads, subscribes, follows to the podcast, wherever that may be, leaves a review, a rate. They tell me that stuff works. Comment, I don't know. People spam it. Who knows? It's nice to see yourself up there, but I know the support is there, and I appreciate you very much. So we have a very fun show planned for all of you today with some big names, 5 guests in total. I like the number 5 for guests. I think it's a nice number, and it's an eclectic mix of guests. At 1:30, we're going to be joined by Glover Teixeira, who you may have heard is fighting on October 30th for the UFC light heavyweight title. He is fighting the current champion Jan Blachowicz in Abu Dhabi. It's a afternoon card on ESPN Plus here in America. This fight was supposed to happen on September 4th. Of course, most of us thought that Glover was going to fight Jan for the belt mid this year, but they ended up going with Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya, not to be confused with Israel Adesanya. And we know how that went. Jan wins. Glover had to wait. He's getting up there in age, 41, I believe, last I checked. So he hasn't fought. By the time this fight happens, by the way, it will be almost a year since his last fight. His last fight was in November of 2020. And so at 41, and he's turning 42 2 days before the fight on October 28th, which just so happens to be Claire Helwani's birthday, my daughter, so it's a very special day. He's going to be fighting for the UFC title, a guy who fought for the UFC title back at UFC 172 against John Jones, Baltimore, Maryland, 2014. Who can forget? Baltimore, a nice city to host an event. Arena was a little small, but it was cool to have Jones there defending the title with his brother at the time, I do believe, Arthur, a member of the Baltimore Ravens. And there'll be no football talk on this show, by the way, after the debacle by my Buffalo Bills yesterday. I mean, let's not talk about that. We will move on from that. In any event, I'm looking forward to talking to Glover. This, of course, will probably be his last shot at a belt, so it's a big one for him. At 2 o'clock, we're going to be joined by Gable Steveson, who I've had on the show before in this new era. Like him very much. Very smart man. Great head on his shoulders. Gets the promotion side of things, gets the marketing side of things. And you may recall 2020 Olympic Games, which didn't happen in 2020, which happened in 2021, of course, just a few weeks ago in Tokyo. He won a gold medal in freestyle wrestling. Very dramatic, final seconds. I won't pretend to be Daniel Cormier here and break it all down for all of you, but I'm told it was very dramatic. It was somewhat absurd in the sense that he was able to score, I think, 3 points in the final seconds of the match and secure gold. And since then, he's been everywhere. Any combat sports event, he's there. Whether it's pro wrestling, whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, he's there. And he finally made the decision, announced it on Thursday, that he's going back to school for 1 more year. He's going back to the University of Minnesota. He's going to try to defend his heavyweight title, national championship that he won back in March. But in a very interesting twist, and by the way, in a twist that couldn't happen literally a year ago, could never happen in the history of collegiate athletics, he has signed an NIL deal, name, image, likeness deal with World Wrestling Entertainment. So essentially, WWE sponsors him for the year because, in case you don't know, if you're from overseas or whatever, you don't follow this stuff, NCAA athletes, collegiate athletes, could not get paid by anyone while they were competing. It didn't matter if you were Carmelo Anthony playing for the Syracuse Orange back in 2003, winning the national championship, or if you're some guy, playing hockey for the University of Michigan. It doesn't matter. You couldn't get paid, but all that changed. And now there's a new thing called NIL rights deals, where athletes who are currently in school are able to go out there and earn a living, generate some kind of income, profit off of their name, image, and likeness. So this is huge. And here's Gable Steveson, who's been, flirting with everyone, says, you know what? I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to defend my title. I'm going to graduate, but I'm also going to get paid by WWE. I'm going to be in their farm system. They're going to help me train. And then by the time I'm done, come March, April, I've now been training for wrestling, but also doing some wrestling training, and I'm ready to go. Like, my understanding is he's not even going to go to NXT. He's just going to jump into the big leagues, so to speak. And that ends up at around, WrestleMania time, March, April. Like, this is a big deal. So MMA promotions were interested in him. He was on there with, PFL. He was on there with, UFC a couple times. Bellator, he was on the broadcast. But in the end, he decided to go the Brock Lesnar route. A little bit different, of course, where he went down the path of returning to school, defending the title. He's a supreme talent, but he is also going to be involved with WWE. And then eventually, we'll see. We'll ask him at 2:00, is the plan to still go at some point to mixed martial arts? And he's only 21. He's got a lot of time ahead of him. Finishes this year. Question is, does he go to the 2024 Olympic Games? That might slow things down in Paris. We'll ask him about all that. So that's at 2:00. 2:30, we're going to be joined by Luke Rockhold, who I haven't talked to in quite some time, who's returning to action on November 6th, right here in New York City, Madison Square Garden. He's fighting Sean Strickland. We haven't seen him fight since July of 2019, the infamous Jorge Masvidal Ben Askren card, the knockout. That's the last time we saw Rockhold, who was essentially retired and then said he, was thinking of coming back, moved up to 205, now back down to 185. One of the greats in the game, former Strikeforce middleweight champion, hasn't won a fight since September of 2017 when he defeated David Branch in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so this is a big one against a guy who's a little bit out there, a little bit different, but is on some kind of roll, Sean Strickland. So we'll talk to Luke Rockhold about all of that and more at 2:30. At 3:00, we're going to be joined by Suga, Sean O'Malley. Last saw him in July against Chris Moutinho. That was a very one-sided fight, but the story of that fight was Moutinho just taking all the damage in the world, taking the fight on short notice, never giving up, never quitting. O'Malley won relatively easily, but Moutinho became somewhat of a darling, if you will. And so now we wonder, what's next for Sean, popular fighter, somewhat polarizing at times, does a great job of promoting himself, of marketing himself. I look forward to talking to him at 3. And finally, we'll wrap up the day with perhaps the most talked about man in combat sports today. Not a day goes by where this man does not get called out, it seems, by someone in some kind of combat sport. It doesn't matter if it's boxing, MMA, or kickboxing. It feels like not a day goes by where we don't hear someone calling out Jake Paul, right? I mean, let's be honest. It doesn't matter if it's MMA, boxing, kickboxing. It feels like he's being called out almost by it reminds me of Bisping back in the day. It reminds me of Conor back in the day, where it just felt like someone is calling out these people. And right now it's Jake Paul every hour on the hour. Now, I booked him on the show before this weekend's Triller card, but, the timing is pretty damn good. Haven't talked to him, of course, since the win over Tyron Woodley. Where's he going to go from here? What's the plan? Who's next? Is it Tommy Fury? Is he going to fight in 2021? And look, I know he's polarizing. I know I saw some people say it's called the MMA hour. Why do you have Jake Paul on? I mean, if anything, Jake Paul feels more like an MMA story than a boxing story. All he does is talk about the state of MMA, the business of MMA, talks about MMA fighters. MMA fighters are the ones, the biggest names, who are calling him out. Like, the biggest names in MMA are calling him out as opposed to in boxing. He feels like an MMA story to me. He really does. He's a big MMA fan, so why wouldn't I have him on the program? Okay, just because it says MMA Hour in the name, it doesn't mean that we don't get to spread our wings just a little bit. And so let's start with there, if I can, because it was a relatively quiet weekend in the world of mixed martial arts. Just checking something here. Relatively quiet weekend in the world of mixed martial arts. You know, okay, sorry about that. You know, one of those weekends where no UFC, no Bellator, no PFL, no Invicta. Like, there wasn't a lot going on, and those are very, very rare. There's usually a Cage Warriors here, a this, a that, but nothing really going on, and that's why it felt like all the focus was on Saturday night's Triller card in South Florida. It was supposed to be in Southern California, as you may recall, and it was supposed to be Vitor Belfort against Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya unfortunately got COVID. It sounds like he's doing much better now. So in walks Evander Holyfield, who is 58, who, if you just look at him from afar, you know, doesn't move like he once did, doesn't talk like he once did, doesn't answer questions like he once did, and he's going in there against a guy who's 14 years younger than him, Vitor Belfort, 44 versus 58 in the main event of a boxing match that was deemed an exhibition, 8 rounds, 2 minutes each, but didn't seem to have the protection that the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones Jr. fight in November had, which was California saying, hey, you know, if things get dicey, no knockdowns, we're going to step in, all that stuff. This seemed to be open season, Wild West, if you will. And so we had this situation where they moved the fight card from California to South Florida because the California State Athletic Commission, which I think is the gold standard in combat sports right now, I think that they are, you know, you can poke holes, you could say this, that, but as far as right now being the most on point and ethical, I think it's California, and it's led by Andy Foster, who I've talked about time and again. I think he has it the most together, and they did what they had to do and decided that they couldn't sanction this. So we go to Florida, who of course sanctions this and says, please bring all your freak show fights, bring all your questionable fights, bring all your fights that make you uncomfortable, and hold them here. And so the fight card was moved on a week's notice to South Florida. Now, let me just say before I get into some of my thoughts on the past weekend, because again, this was a boxing card. I agree. Yes, on its surface, it's boxing. But, like I said with Jake Paul, very much an MMA story, because 3 out of the top 4 fighters on this card, MMA legends, not just MMA fighters. It wasn't Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor up there. MMA legends. Vitor Belfort, legend. Anderson Silva, legend. Tito Ortiz, legend. Who's on the broadcast booth? Jorge Masvidal, legend. Junior Dos Santos, legend. Like, it felt like we were watching an MMA card, but they were just doing some boxing. And so let me just say, like, I root for the Trillers of the world. I root for the other promotions. Every promotion that pops up, I root for them, because I've always been a proponent of paying more, options, competition. All this is good. Same thing that I feel about in the world of pro wrestling, same thing that I feel about in the world of MMA. I've been talking about it in the world of MMA longer than I have anywhere else. In the NBA, if you fall out of favor with the Portland Trailblazers, you can go to 29 other teams. In MMA, if you fall out of favor with the UFC, how many options do you have out there? Now, some are popping up. You got Bellator, you got PFL, you got one. But, you know, you need options. And so I like the fact that there's a promotion out there that's giving opportunities to MMA fighters in particular to box and to make a hell of a lot of money. This is great. What bums me out about the whole situation is how I feel like they're misusing their funds, because clearly Triller is doing quite well. They're able to pay for the likes of, you know, Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort and Anderson Silva and Tito Ortiz and Donald Trump Sr. and Jr. to be a part of the broadcast. And I'll get to that in a second. And all these other things, these bells and whistles, like, they're able to pay for it, clearly, able to move the card and all that stuff. And so there's a part of me that wishes, like, man, if you've got those pockets, which doesn't happen often, those resources, You're able to think a little bigger. It's just a shame to be spending the money on these one-off fights that are going to get you nowhere. There is no point in investing in an Evander Holyfield at this juncture. And I know that was in the original plan, but even Oscar De La Hoya, these are all one-night stands. They're all one-offs. Can we try to build something? And I know their whole thing is it's a variety show and we're just, putting on these events, but you want to build to something. You don't want it to be viewed as the car crash promotion. You don't want it to be viewed as the promotion where, someone might get seriously hurt. And I feel like we watch these cards somewhat out of support, somewhat out of nostalgia, but also with one eye open and one eye closed because we're afraid of what's going to happen. I was afraid of what's going to happen. And I was open about the De La Hoya fight. I kind of come around to it. I was like, all right, they're around the same age. And I mean, it's not really something I'm clamoring to see, but, De La Hoya, legend, seems to be moving okay. I know he's got his issues, with substance abuse and all that stuff, but all right. But then when they bring in Holyfield, I was like, what is going on here? First of all, Holyfield's involved in a legal battle with them. Forget about that. Second of all, he is very old, and he's got some, tread on those tires. And he doesn't speak the way he once spoke, and he doesn't move the way he once spoke. What are we doing here? And then you got Vitor, who's a very spry 44-year-old, a very large 44-year-old with his past as well. The whole thing felt uncomfortable. So when I was watching the main event, which eventually was won by Vitor Belfort in very quick fashion, less than 2 minutes, there was a part of me that was happy that it ended quickly, that it didn't get dragged out for 8 rounds of, Evander getting his head punched. But there was a moment there where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see someone get seriously hurt. And I just don't feel like that fight should have ever happened. I don't feel like that fight should have been sanctioned. I don't feel like that fight should have been promoted. There was no desire to see that fight. And I saw my boy DC, shout out to DC, saying, I don't know if he was trolling me or not. I didn't ask him, saying that there's no way Evander loses that fight. How do you look at him hitting the mitts and say that this is a fight that is actually going to be fair and competitive? Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Shouldn't have happened. And so that's why I'm conflicted here. You want, great, Vitor, make the money. Triller, get your name out there. Give money to Teofimo Lopez, more than he's ever made. Give opportunities to Anderson Silva, who I'll get to in a second. You know what I'm saying? Do that stuff. All you want. But not this. I don't want to see a death. I don't want to see someone get hurt. I don't want to see an old guy who's a legend resort to this. And I hope that every young fighter who's in his prime and making money right now is watching that and saying, when I get to be 55, 57, 58, I don't want to have to resort to this. Because there is a part of me that believes the only reason why else would someone do this is because they need the money, right? There has to be a way that these men and women are being protected and being taken care of and being looked out for in their prime so that they don't have to resort to this when they're in their late 40s and mid 50s and late 50s and dare I say 60s. Who's next? Sugar Ray Leonard, is he coming back too? What's the appeal to all of this? So I don't think that should have happened. And then we get to the post-fight interview, and then I'm even more confused because here's Vitor Belfort, who all week long, and again, I have no axe to grind with Vitor, legend of the game. We've had our ups and downs. One time he canceled on me at the last moment because I couldn't ask about certain things, but he was on the show very recently. He's a legend of the game, and I know the past is checkered, and I know that he's had, his issues with performance-enhancing drugs. We can't sugarcoat it, but make your money, man, in a fair and honest way. All week long leading up to the fight, prior to the fight, calling Jake Paul a Disney kid, saying that this is amateur versus pro, all this stuff. And who's the first name that comes out of your mouth when you beat Evander Holyfield? Which, by the way, the celebration was almost worse than Tito celebrating when he beat Chuck Liddell in that, disgrace of a fight. Because it felt like you're beating up a senior citizen. And then who's the name that you're calling out? The kid who's 20 years younger than you? Jake Paul? The one that you just dismissed for the past week, who you said was beneath you, who was a Disney kid, who was a YouTube star? That's the first name they were going to call out. And then the Triller guys come out and put a $30 million bet on the table. What is this? What is going on here? This is craziness. And let's not get into the walking contradiction of being in there and talking about Jake Paul after you were dismissing him all week in front of your family, cursing while, talking about Jesus. The whole thing was just one big contradiction, one massive contradiction. I don't want to see Vitor Belfort versus Jake Paul. I don't want to see that happen. I mean, I said that I wanted to see Anderson versus Jake Paul. I get the appeal because Anderson, to me, at this juncture of his career, and by the way, he beat Tito Ortiz in a very, very quick fight as well, almost feels like the darling of the MMA community. His past has been forgotten about. People love him. It's a great story to see him go out on his terms. Honest Anderson, independent Anderson, having fun, moving like he's moving, all that stuff. He kind of feels like the final boss on this Jake Paul versus MMA journey that we're going on. You know, this beloved legend will be the last guy. But let's not forget as well, Anderson is 46 and is moving pretty well at 46. Jake Paul's 24. So it is I know that it doesn't all equal, but it is somewhat hypocritical to say, I don't like the Holyfield fight against Vitor, but be okay with Jake Paul versus Anderson. Now, I get it. 24, 46 is different than 58, 44, but you get my point. Like if I'm Jake's people, you're on my radar, but I'm not signing up for that fight right now. Jake's still only 4-0 in all kinds of combat. That's it. How many fights has Anderson been in? That would make no sense. If I were them, I go for the Tommy Fury fight. You keep that in the back of your mind. Maybe in a year or two, you go after that one, but it feels a little premature. Now, they may get mad at me for saying that. It's not to say that I don't think he can hang with him, but it just seems way too premature to go for that fight. The Anderson story is a different one in the sense that people are loving seeing him happy. They don't like Tito. They were happy to see him, knock out Tito. And, I suggested that maybe there were some, shall we say, I don't know how to put this, questionable, moments in that fight. I talked to a lot of people who've been in the fight game. I've talked to a lot of people who have watched fights, and they shared the same sentiment as me. To be up in the corner like that, to throw those punches and to wait and then go forward and then the dramatic fall and then to not move during the 10 count, but then to jump up, once the fight is over, let's not pretend here that we're talking about a bastion of integrity. Let's not pretend like we're talking about someone who hasn't done just fought Alberto Del Rio in an MMA fight, let alone, has done let's not, I saw my boys and I saw Mike Bond write something about this on MMA Junkie, and I reached out to him, on text as well. I was like, hey, next time at me. Like, if you're going to say that I have never been the guy to cry, foul about a Bellator fight or I hate when that happens. Hate it. It's reckless. It's disrespectful. It's all those things. I have never been that guy, ever. But you're telling me you didn't watch that? Especially go look at the ESPN ringside clip taken by my guy, Omar Raja, and tell me that was not weird, him in the corner. All I'm saying, I was just raising my hand. Am I the only one who saw that? Taking a fight on super short notice, quick payday, in and out, and not suggesting at all that Anderson had anything to do with anything, because he felt like he was above all of that. But the notion that someone would just want to get in and out, why is that crazy? Are we all that naive? And it has nothing to even do with what the lines were or anything like that. In, out. It's like the old Job Squad once said, pin me, pay me. You get me? Don't be such marks. All I'm saying is I no evidence. I see what I see with my eyes. That seemed a little suspect. Am I the only one that didn't feel that or did feel that? But the truth is, the whole thing, you're watching it and you're like, wow, if there were young studs here, if there were names, up and comers, it's you get UFC every weekend at the Apex with the uniforms. It looks the same. It feels the same. It sounds the same. You get it every weekend. You know what? It's nice to have something else on the side. It's like my friend once told me about being married. He's like, you know what? You have chicken every night. Sometimes you like to have a little meat. Okay, I get it. Luckily, I'm not at that stage in my life. But you get what I'm trying to say here. It's nice to have a little meat on your plate when you're getting chicken every Saturday. And so this could be the meat. This could be the well-done steak with a little ketchup. Hunts, please. This could be it. But then you get these crazy fights, and you're getting this and that, old guys and questionable finishes, quick fights, pin me, pay me. And then we get to the broadcast team, and I will admit, when they said the Trumps are going to be there, I thought, all right, they're going to call in like they did at the press conference. It's going to be, they'll be at home, and they'll get a good line. They'll get a good ISDN line, and it'll all be good. No, they were there, both of them, senior and junior, the whole time for 4 hours. They were there longer than Jorge Masvidal was there. And my big takeaway from it all was, number one, See, and this is not me getting political. I'm just watching the thing. It could be any two people up there. Senior wants nothing to do with Junior, it seems like. He's not addressing him. He's not talking to him. He's not building him up. Junior loves Senior, building him up, deferring to him, all that stuff. Senior never addressed Junior, at least what I saw. Senior loves the fighters. JDS had a ball with him. Jorge had a ball with him. Kept the conversation going. Wasn't as big of a train wreck as I thought. Initially, I thought I wasn't going to listen to it. I ended up listening to it the whole time. And there's actually some kind of skill involved in all of it, because you have to, like, if there's no traffic cop there, there's no play-by-play guy there, you actually have to, like, know what to do to keep the conversation going. So take it from me, broadcaster extraordinaire, veteran of the booth. Just kidding, of course. But it actually wasn't as bad of a, train wreck as I thought it was going to be. Yes, there were mistakes. Yes, it was, I would never advocate for this to be on a real broadcast. And you felt a little bit weird at times, like, am I listening to a political thing or not? But again, how many people bought the pay-per-view for that? And how much do those guys cost? Was it worth it? Is anybody buying the pay-per-view for this? Like, that should be what it ultimately comes down to. Are people buying the fighting pay-per-view, the boxing pay-per-view, the combat pay-per-view for this? You know what I'm saying? Are people buying the event for what we're about to spend a lot of money on? Like, even Michael Buffer probably cost, like, we lived through Affliction. We all saw it. They lasted 2 events. Different strokes for different folks is a good thing. But when you watch this, you're like, man, are they even going to be around for the Teofimo Lopez fight? Are they going to be around for the Thanksgiving card that they're talking about with Vitor fighting, Jake Paul? I don't know how Jake Paul could even do this. He's under contract with Showtime. Why would he even entertain this? Of course, we could talk about it later on. But there's just such conflicting feelings about the whole thing. Because it could be something. I will say, though, the production, it felt like it was a lot better in November for that first show. Even the second one, this one felt more like a smoker with, like, just some celebrities there. And from what I understand, not that many people there. But hey, hopefully they're if the game plan is, and I'd like to have Ryan Kavanaugh on this show, the head man at Triller. No beef with him. I hope that they're doing things the right way, kosher way, and are sustainable and healthy and profitable and all that stuff. I have some thoughts on the match. But I wouldn't mind having him on to just talk about, the mindset behind a lot of this stuff, the decision making. I just wonder what the long-term plan is. Like, are they here just for a few fights and then they're done? Or are they here for, the next 5, 6, 7 years? It's tough to stick around for that long if you're paying that kind of money to your guys. So, bit of an interesting one. Hope that Evander is okay. Definitely don't want to see a rematch. Curious to see where Vitor goes from here. I know he was in some contract stuff with the One Championship group, and so good to see him fight again. Hope that he's able to fight someone who's a bit more at his level. I mean, even the Anderson fight would have made or could make a lot more sense than this Evander fight. Anderson continues to be one of the feel-good stories of 2021, and it's amazing. Some guys get, branded with that PD brush for the rest of their career/lives. Anderson hasn't. God bless him. And people are just very, very happy for him. And I'll admit, I'm very happy for him too. He's coming across as very noble, as very martial arts, if you will. Like, it's just like everything about him, like not engaging in the nonsense. The zen is great. Like the vibe is great. Everything is great. Mike Heck on MMA Fighting did a great, great job of covering that card. So respect to him. And I don't want to see Tito Ortiz versus Logan Paul, but again, it's just like every weekend, Logan, Jake. And yeah, I'm curious to see where they go from here. I guess they have the Teofimo Lopez card, which is a bit more of a traditional boxing card, but I don't know. I hope that they're able to sustain this. The other big news of the weekend, of course, as I said, not a lot going on in terms of cards, but there was a bit of an incident at the Video Music Awards between Conor McGregor and Machine Gun Kelly. I will be honest, I used to love the VMAs. Love them. Like, record them, miss it, watch it. You know, I was big into all of that. Didn't know the VMAs were still a thing. I can't remember the last time I watched MTV. Happy to hear it's still a thing, but I just felt like with the, decline of music videos, it wasn't really a thing anymore. So very happy for them that they're still a thing. Good on MTV. And apparently there was this back and forth, and I don't know. You don't want to see that. I know Machine Gun Kelly's a big MMA fan. Connor's team saying he had nothing to do with it, or didn't start it, I should say. Machine Gun Kelly didn't really. I don't know. My initial reaction was I didn't know that the VMAs were a thing. My second reaction was like, he's a pro fighter. It's just not a great look. And I'm sure he was there, excited to be there. I think he was there with his significant other. Like, none of this is necessary, especially with the bum leg. The cane is super cool, but none of it is really necessary. And unfortunate to see, and glad that no one got hurt there, because trained fighter could get dicey, could get very interesting, could get very, very uncomfortable. It's a pro fighter. Contender Series back. CFFC celebrating their 100th show later on this week, September 16th. And there is a UFC event and a Bellator event this weekend going head-to-head. Usually I don't love the head-to-head, if I'm being honest. But these days, with the cards being a little more thin, I actually do like the head-to-head. I actually think that the head-to-head is good. Yoel Romero fighting in the main event against Phil Davis. That's the main event of Bellator 266. Bellator returning to San Jose, California for the first time in quite some time. And then the main event for the UFC card on the same evening, Saturday night, will be the Anthony Smith-Ryan Spann fight. Smith on the program last week, talking a little bit about Spann and his promo before the fight and being upset and all that stuff. So that's going on this week, and of course we'll have more to talk about as far as the weekend is concerned. But for now, enough of me chattering away. Let's get to our guests, and let's get to our first guest of the day. I told you at the beginning of the show, this man is fighting for the UFC light heavyweight title for the second time on October 30th in Abu Dhabi. Fought for the belt at 172. Now he's going up against the current champion, Jan Blachowicz, one of the nicest guys in MMA. Everyone very happy that he's getting this second crack at the title. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Glover Teixeira. Glover, my friend, how are you?
How you doing, man? I'm good.
It is great to talk to you. It is great to talk to you, and I'm very happy that you got the title fight October 30th in Abu Dhabi. I have a lot to talk to you about. I'm curious, initially, Glover, we had heard that this fight was going to happen September 4th. Why did it get moved from September 4th to October 30th?
I don't know. It moves. I think with something to do with I think Brian Stann was gonna be. I don't know, man. It was like they just say, "Hey, the fight is gonna be moving," and they say Dubai October 30. For me, it was no problem. I'm like, yeah, I just want to get in there and fight.
But for you, it will be almost a year between fights, right? So I would imagine you're getting anxious at this point, no?
A little bit, man. But I enjoy my time off now. I have a 40 fight, so it's not something that I need to be on fighting, so I can have the ball rolling and everything. So it was like training, relaxing, enjoy the time off, and now I'm back in camp. I help a couple guys get ready for. I was in the gym the whole time, and. Man, like I say, I come to this point 1 year, it doesn't make a difference anymore, the fight game. It happened before, and I feel nothing, I feel good going there. Octagon is my home. I feel very comfortable there, no matter, I know what you mean. Guys, I think in the beginning of my career, if I had not fight for a year, it would probably, mess me up a little bit, but not now.
You've got the gym, you're busy, so you're able to stay, occupied, right?
Yeah. Focus, man. I have a couple guys getting ready for fight. I helping Alex Pereira for his fight at Glory, helping Wellington Turman for his UFC, couple weeks ago. So it was all good, you know.
I want to ask you about Alex in a minute, but I just want to stick with you. After your win in November, there was a big push to see you fight for the belt again, but they went with Izzy. Were you bummed about that?
Of course, man. You know, it's a delay. You know, I was a little upset about it, but you know, it's over. It's not in my control. I can only, you know, I get upset for seconds. It's like, really, you know, this fight is gonna happen. But you know, man, life goes on. I'm just like kind of respect the opinion or whatever Dana is doing. You know, I was ruined for Blachowicz because I didn't know what's gonna happen if he Adesanya wins. So it went my way. So I'm happy anyway. You know.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that, wondering if you were rooting for Jan, because if Izzy wins it, then he goes and defends the 185 title, things get delayed, would have made a mess of a situation, right?
Yes. I was just hoping the Jan win, and that's why I went to talk. That's what the pictures over there, me talking with him, like, hey, man, me and you next. And that was before the judge, you know, before they say who's the winner. They say, you think I won, Glover? I say, you definitely won, my friend. So, yeah.
It was nice to see the respect between the two of you. You were there as like the backup fighter, right? You got paid to weigh in just in case.
Yes.
Is that a weird thing to cut weight and do the whole thing, knowing in the back of your mind that you probably won't be needed?
Yes. I when they put me as backup fighter, I didn't realize like first, but then later on, you know, pushing the camp like 3 weeks before was like, really, how can I? You know, nothing's happening. The fight is still going, and 2 weeks before the fight, if the fight's still going, and like, how can you train 100%? You know, fully camp. Like, for example, right now, I'm training for this fight. I know this fight's gonna happen 2 weeks before the fight. That's time to, you know, increase, you know, get up there with the sparring, with everything. So it was a little bit difficult to get your mind set for that, you know, even knowing that you may be going to fight, but and you don't know what you want. You don't know which opponent you're gonna fight. You know, you think is that the side, you know. So it's like it was a little weird, yeah. But you know,
and probably I would imagine there's part of you who's like, you know, obviously you want to fight for the belt, but you're not really training for a fight per se. So you want to get paid, want the fight to go through, and then you fight the winner, hopefully Jan in your case, so that you're not thrust into a title fight on 24 hours notice, right? Like, you can't trick your mind into actually thinking that you're preparing for a title fight when it kind of knows in the back that, like, Izzy's not going to have trouble making 205. Jan has never had issues as well. So you don't want to be told on Friday night, hey, you're in on 24 hours notice, right?
Yeah, you know, my mind, I was trying to focus as much as I can over there. I was cutting weight, you know, cut the weight, focus, getting a week of the fight. The same thing, I stay, you know, as I say before, was a little bit difficult to focus and to realize, because when I saw Adesanya there on Wednesday, cutting weight, everybody was there. I was like, bro, this, you know, it's some freaky thing happening to this fight not going through, you know. It's like, for me to focus, it was a little bit different, man. But, you know, a guy that have a 40 fight in the business and 20 years almost in the business, you got to experience it all, you know?
That's right. And like I said, you did fight for the belts back in 2014. What's the biggest difference, other than the age, the experience, of course, what's the biggest difference between this Glover mentally and the Glover who fought John Jones back in 2014?
I don't know, man. I'm learning so much over the years, you know, just learning to relax and chill a little bit, and more calm with my fights, knowing that what I have to do, you know, and I don't know. I just feel like I don't put too much pressure on myself anymore. I'm just going over there and have fun. I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying this fight. I'm enjoying the training situation. You know, I learned more how to training now. Before with John Jones was was a time there that I overtrained. I killed myself in training, and then like to stop training, I had such a hard time to switch there. You know, to take a couple of days off to listen to my body. And now with all this going on fighting at older age, I feel like doing this better and better. I feel better, like I'm training less, but I'm training with quality training.
Do you feel like you used to put too much? Because I mean, you had that amazing streak back in the day. Do you feel like you used to put too much? Like you would get too nervous before fights, put too much pressure on your shoulders before fights?
Not too nervous, but pressure on the training, in the training situation. Like I a lot of the fights that like I said, I had 20 winning streak fighting John Jones, but it wasn't like wasn't you don't fix what not broke, right? Because what's working for me, I keep doing the same thing, but wasn't guys like UFC guys that was fighting, you know what I mean? So it comes to a point that I lost John Jones, and then later on I lost to, kind of got unmotivated. I lost that next fight to Phil Davis, Then that's when I started researching and looking to change, to do better, because I love this. I knew how good I was by training with, everybody. Mind you, I was in Brazil training with everybody over there, Lyoto Machida. Before I went, I was training with Chuck Liddell, and I was going toe-to-toe with those guys. Those guys are UFC light heavyweight champion. I'm going and they know how good I am, how tough I am. So I was in Brazil, was fighting. They called me hey, Glover, you want to fight tomorrow? I said, yeah, which way? If it's, I'll fight anybody, anytime, I was I just wanted to fight, because Chuck told me hey man, I know your paper's not getting done, but keep fighting, fight everybody, everyone, knock everybody out, and I'll see you. I'm gonna watch. They fight for you to be in UFC. Just keep beating everybody else.
I remember.
And I was yeah, okay.
Yeah, your story was a crazy one because you had the visa issues, and everyone wanted to see you in the UFC, and then you finally got there, and you get the chance, and now you're getting another chance. I'm wondering, when you started your career, Glover, in 2002, did you think, because you'll be 42 by the time this fight happens, right? Your birthday's on October 28th. By the way, my daughter's birthday, so it's a very special day to me, October 28th. So well done, my friend.
Cool, man.
But did you?
It's a good birthday.
It is a great birthday. Did you think in your early 40s you'd still be fighting? Was this part of the plan?
No, I wanted to be champion quick. When I start, everybody wanted to be. I wanted to do like Khabib, man. Be a champ of the world, be in the top of the world, and go. But right now, man, I'm just enjoying this so much. I really do. I'm not saying here for the money. I mean, I have my gym there. They're doing well. I'm living very simple. I don't live over the budget. So fighting for the money. Of course, money is good. I'm making more money now in my career than I ever made, so money is good too, but it's just the fact that like I say, I think I found the way to train. I'm happier training now. I'm sleeping better. I'm training better. I'm everything is better, because when I have the ups and downs, even with John Jones, even with Ryan Bader, I was winning those fights, but man, was too much work, too much maybe too much work and too much undiscipline off camp too. Even Lyoto had a talk with me about it. He's like, Glover, you got to discipline yourself a little more, because the age is going to catch up to you. You can't do those things,
Like what? Like what kind of things? Party,
drinking, eating, drinking a bottle of Hennessy, bottle of, in the weekend.
Yeah.
Not, I wouldn't say alcoholic, but I love the party, So I take all this stuff away. I had the ups and downs, the stuff, so I lost, then I win a fight. I win and lost, until I kind of figured everything out. See, that's how I am going to live my life, because I love this more than anything, and I wanted to do the best that I can in this sport, I want another chance to fight for the title, and I want to give my best shot. So I take everything out that is bothering me, and things that, living like a really a professional athlete, an athlete. I see I don't know, but George St. Pierre. I can see like Lyoto Machida, you know, those guys are very disciplined and focused and on the game. So I kind of like that right now, man.
So no drinking or anything anymore?
No drinking, no.
Good man.
After the fight.
After the
fight, yeah.
Only
I drink, you know, I sit down, I drink a glass of wine, man. I drink a beer, you know. But no, nothing. Don't get drunk anymore.
Okay,
I miss that.
You miss it?
I miss get drunk, but I don't miss getting the hangovers, you know.
Well, I mean, like clearly it helps, and you have to treat your body like you know, like a Corvette as opposed to you know, a Honda Accord. So what they told you was obviously good advice. After the Jones fight and in those years afterwards, was there a part of you that was like, all right, it's looking like I'll never get a title shot again, and I have to come to terms with that. I have to be okay with that. I'll have a nice career, but I'll never get a chance to fight for the belt. I'll never get a chance to win the belt. Had you had that talk with yourself in the subsequent years?
Yes, I had that talk, but it was not like something that I'm always fighting with my thoughts, you know. It's like I think like that, but then I think like, man, I really need to. I can't do this, you know. I can't go, and I can't. I think when I lost to Corey Anderson was a time that Gustafsson, because that's what for the title. That was for the title elimination. I lost that fight, and I was like, man, it's really like bummed about it. And yeah, maybe I would never get a title shot, you know. You know, but I don't know, man. Just like I keep training, keep focused, and keep getting better. And that's what I'm doing right now. Trying to eat better, do the ice bath every day, do all the crazy things to. You know, it's a price that you pay. You know, to be disciplined is kind of like, especially if you know, not in the environment, you got to change your whole lifestyle a little bit. To be that disciplined is a little painful in the beginning, but it's worth it, man.
I saw a picture recently. Here it is. I don't know if you could see it. You can't see it, right? Let me show it to you. It's a picture that you posted on your Instagram of you and Dana White from back in the day. You know the picture, right? You're the one who posted it.
Yes.
I saw this picture. Look at you. Yeah. You look so young. Dana White looks young as well. He's got the nice hair. He's got everything. You got Nick Diaz in the background just randomly of this picture. It's incredible. Where was this picture taken, Glover?
Vegas. That was after one of Chuck's fight. I think it was the first time I went to Vegas with Chuck. I think with Chuck and Tito won the first fight. Chuck and Tito Cheese. That's why I helped him. I went there to watch the fight. Funny, Nick Diaz, he didn't know who I was, but I was like, hey, Nick Diaz, hey man, can I get in the press, you know, in the room with the press conference there? And he's like, yeah, man, walk in. So, you know, I just walked in with him. I was like, I'm with him because I told him I trained with Chuck, but you know, Chuck's already there. And I was like, he said, yeah, come in. So I walk in and I see Dana White. That's what probably the picture was. That's why I take all those pictures with everybody, you know.
Amazing. And here you are. So that was probably, I think 2005.
2005?
Yeah, 16 years later.
5, 6, something like that.
Still doing it. By the way, did you watch Anderson this weekend?
Yes.
It's amazing. What did you think of that fight?
I knew it was going to be an easy fight for him, you know. I mean, Tito is not a boxer. I think Anderson can beat Tito in MMA right now, you know.
Right.
That's if they fight MMA, he can beat him. That's when Tito have the most chance. If he was MMA fight, I still bet my money on Anderson. But boxing is like ridiculous. It's like I don't know. It's like okay. It's like what's the chance, you know? It's like 5% chance to Tito beat Anderson Silva in boxing.
But Anderson's got something going here with the boxing. He looked great in his last fight. I want to see him stick. Like I don't want to see Anderson go back to MMA. We saw it. I want to see how far at this stage of his life he can go with the boxing. Do you agree?
Yeah. I think he's doing a good. He's a good boxer, man. He loves boxing. He wants to do boxing for a while. And the way he trained, that's another guy too. I see him training before, and I was like, in my mind, this is in Brazil. This is before I was in UFC. I see him training. I was like, how can this guy win, man? How can this guy he's that good? The way he trains, it doesn't seem like he pushy, you know? It's like he just so relaxed at training. When he hit pads, he's like dying, like pop, pop. You see the way he trains on the video? He's like that.
Yeah.
He trains like that. He's very relaxed, very calm. And then he fight great, you know, and that's one of the guy that probably judge him in the beginning, saying like, how the hell this guy's if I can train like that, I don't beat nobody, you know, because my mind is like, I gotta train hard every time, and now I realize that what Anderson's doing, you know.
Yeah, and he's 46. What do you think of Vitor?
Vitor, it's hard to say because, you know, man, I mean, he fought Holyfield 2 weeks notice, and Holyfield is 58. I mean, I know the age, right? Like a guy like me right now, 42 years old, we cannot take it too a long time off. Even I gotta be constantly training because the balance in everything, you gotta be constantly training, constantly focus on that, because it's not like young guys that take 3 months off and come back and do a camp, 10 weeks camp and get back in shape and get back in, you know. And 58, come on, you saw the way Holyfield was off balance there. Right. It was like every hit was kind of throw him off. And it's hard to say. I'd love to see Vitor and Anderson
in a boxing match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Who do you think wins?
I think Anderson.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to see 58-year-olds fight. Like no one wants to see that, right? I don't care who they were.
No. Maybe another, you know, maybe another 58, you know, maybe another guy that age, but like what's Vitor? 45?
44, right? 44.
44, yeah. Come on, man. The guys is almost, you know, it's almost my age, man. You know,
right. Yeah.
It's like I love Vitor though, but it's like it's a win for him that he got him nowhere, you know, to be honest. Like, oh, I beat Holyfield, come on, bro.
Yeah, right. He's celebrating
you know?
Like you beat him in 1996.
Like, oh, jeez. Holyfield, we eat him alive. Holyfield, man, he fought 93 when he fought Mike Tyson. He'll eat him alive, man. He'll be like, I'll fight him with the left hand only.
Right. What about for you? Do you have an age where you won't fight anymore?
Me, I don't know, man. I'm a good boxer as well. You know, who knows?
Oh, you want to go over there too?
Isn't it? Oh shit! You know, maybe I challenge Ricky Bowe. You know,
Riddick Bowe versus Glover. You're about to fight for the UFC title, the mountaintop. You can't concern yourself with this nonsense.
I know. I'm thinking about the future. You know, I'm like right now, focus on this fight, man. I'm just saying, you know, like. Future, who knows? I box a little bit, but no, I think, you know, Elliot, I think right now I feel really good. I feel like maybe next year, man, will be my last year and perform, because like I say, it's not easy, you know?
Yeah.
It's not easy to be, it's possible to fight this. I feel good. And the gym, if you come see me train with those young guys, you know, Alex, and everybody, you know, I feel good. And anybody there, everywhere that I go, I don't just stick around and say, oh, I try to go everywhere. I went to Lyoto, I went to American Top Team, I go to Black House, I go everywhere. I train with everybody still. And I feel good, but like, it's not easy to stay at this, you know, to fight like a UFC light heavyweight champion, UFC light heavyweight contender, whatever it is, you know, you fight in UFC with the young, hungry lions out there. You gotta be one of two, but like it's not easy at this age. So I say another year, maybe, you know, another year. I'll say this title fight, and maybe next, you know, defending the title 1 or 2 times next year, and call it a day. You know what I mean?
Well, I was gonna ask.
Perfect.
That would be perfect, but what are the chances you win the belt and then you call it a day? Is there any chance you win the belt October 30th and then you say, all right, I reached the top, I'm done? What a way to go out.
No, I don't think of that right now. No, I don't think of that. I don't think of that right now. That'll be, but like, I don't know. I feel like if you win the title, you have to defend it. You have to defend it. You have to go out there and defend that belt. Everything's possible, man. But I already say to you right now, like Cormier was doing amazing at the old age, right? Why he stopped, because you know how hard it is to keep it there, to stay to fight at that level at that age. You always gotta constantly be in everything, man. Everything have to be progress. It's like unbelievable. You wish the younger kids do that. Because if they do, they can reach so much more in their career. But you're young, you don't
Right.
think like that. I didn't think like that. So I was just like a mad dog, like drinking and go training the next day, hangover and beat everybody, and thinking like, yeah, man, nobody can beat me. I was like one of those things. You know what I mean?
Legend. Just a couple of things I want to ask you about, then I'll let you go. Alex Pereira, you mentioned him. Going to make his UFC debut. He's coming over finally. Has the history with Israel Adesanya, knocked him out, all that stuff. I saw him in LFA a few months ago. He knocked out that guy viciously. You've been in there with him. You've trained with him, sparred with him. How good is this guy, Alex?
He's amazing, man. His distance, he's amazing. And the people see him training. He even say that people see him training. People see him the way he training and the way he walks. He's like awkward because you see him throwing those punches over there, and he got different power. He got his power. He doesn't like me. I got power. Anthony Johnson got power, but we can see we throwing the punch, we throwing the hip. Even Mike Tyson with the way. And Alex Pereira is just like a short punches like that. He's like kind of like a Jack Dempsey a little bit, like with a short, with short hook. But everything he hits you, it's hard. Everything is hard. And with the little gloves, he's so dangerous. He's like I can't wait to see him doing better and better in UFC and up a scale quick. I think he's gonna be quick up there.
Amazing. And so, all right, we get it. October 30th, you versus Jan in Abu Dhabi, middle of the day here in America, ESPN Plus. I think the story is you go in there, you fight Jan, you beat him, and then you convince John Jones to come down, you get the rematch, and then you beat him, and then you retire. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, that sounds good, huh? That sounds good.
Is he going to fight again?
John Jones coming down? You think John Jones
is he going to fight again, in your
like
opinion? What's going on with John? Is he ever going to fight again? What's happening, in your opinion?
Hey, man, John is doing his thing, I think he making a lot of money. He wants his money. He wants to fight. What is John right now? 36? He's been in the game for a long time. This age is one of those things, like this age. You see a guys 42 fighting for the title. You see a guys with 44 being a champion like Randy was, 43, I think, 44. But you see guys, losing the drive 36, 35. I don't know with John Jones if that's the case, but apparently, I don't know. He wants money, right? He wants money, and but he asked for too much. That could be a way to retire too. Like I can go in my next fight, win the belt, and I say now I want $20 million to fight, and and just retire there, but not retired. You know what I mean?
Sure. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, to say it but not really say it because you're asking for so much that they're not going to give it to you. Is what you're saying?
They're not going to give it to you. You're asking for so much. I don't know if that's what John Jones doing. But definitely, he wants to take the time off. If he wants to fight, he'll be fighting already.
Mm-hmm.
If John Jones really thought he could be a champion and beat him, and he wants to fight, I think he would fight already, man. He just wanted to take the time off, make tons of money. Now he wants to fight for big money. I don't think he's wrong about that. Whatever he think, and I'm agree with everybody, man. If you see, maybe you see Conor McGregor make all this money and this and that, and he's gonna fight Francis Ngannou. He's no joke fighting that guy. He's dangerous. He is no walk in the park,
Right.
And he wants that money.
By the way, speaking of the park,
He's in a spot. I believe he's in a spot to do it, though. It's not me talking shit about Jan. I believe he's in a spot to do it. He's in a position to do it. He's not like a guy that lose a title fight. He go over there, challenge and lose a title fight, and wasn't like that with Borrachinha, who's like he lost the title fight, then he wants more money.
yeah.
I think that's not a good position to do it. You know what I mean?
I agree. By the way, walk in the park, when your career's over, you going to go back to landscaping, Glover?
Landscaping? No, man.
We're done?
I'm good. I think I'm just going to teach the kids, teach the help out with people dream, keep kids dream, help out what I can. This is the thing that I know how to do the most is fighting. So I wanted to stay in the gym, stay focused as a coach, and help out the people. I want to still with the martial arts. I want to still in it.
Well, I'm so happy you're getting this title shot. I know a lot of people were upset that you didn't get it back in March. All's well that ends well. Good luck to you, my friend. Good luck in training. All the best. Thank you for coming on. As always, I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you fight for the belt again in about a month and a half.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is. Glover Teixeira, one of the good guys in the game, getting a second shot at the UFC title October 30th in Abu Dhabi. It's not a pay-per-view. It's the first numbered UFC card since I do believe UFC 123 off the top of my head that will be numbered, but not on pay-per-view. That was in Germany. 123 was in Germany. I believe it was Marquardt Okami right before-ish, the Fox deal. That was in Germany on Spike TV. I think this is the first one. And so 30th is on Plus here in America, BT Sport, and the usual spots, but non pay-per-view. And then the following week is November 6th. That's pay-per-view. That's the Madison Square Garden card here in New York City. So the 267 card is the one in Abu Dhabi. That's headlined by Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira. Nice little card. Co-main is Aljamain Sterling against Petr Yan for the bantamweight title, that rematch. What about Rafael dos Anjos against Islam Makhachev? That's an interesting one. Magomed Ankalaev against Volkan Oezdemir. Khamzat Chimaev on that card as well against Li Zhangliang. So a little something for everyone on that one. That's October the 30th. All right. Very much looking forward to talking to our next guest. He has been in the news as of late. We spoke about him at the top of the show. Had him on a couple of weeks ago as well. 2020 Olympic gold medalist, freestyle wrestling, national champion from the University of Minnesota. Everyone was wondering, where will Gable Steveson go? Well, on Thursday, we found out Gable is going back to school, but it's with a twist. Signed an NIL deal, name, image, likeness deal with WWE. Unprecedented stuff, first of its kind, so had to have him back on to talk about it all. Gable, congratulations on the big news, on the big decision. Appreciate you coming on.
Yo, what's up? I appreciate you having me again. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. It's been great to follow your journey and to see you make all these right moves. And I think you made another smart one. I suggested that this would be the best path for you to go down the quote-unquote Brock Lesnar route of pro wrestling first and then maybe combat. But let me ask you, when did you make this decision in your mind that you would go back to school, sign the NIL with WWE? When did it all come together for you?
It all came together probably. The going back to school thing came way before I went to Olympic Games. I wanted to go back and win a national title. Adding that on with the WWE, it came really quick because they allowed me to come back. And I was like, why wouldn't I wrestle one more year and go on stage with WWE? So it was a win-win, and I had to take the opportunity.
Wait a second. So you knew about this like weeks ago? You were playing us this whole time? The whole time you knew? I mean, you were working us, as they say in the business. You were kayfabing us, Gable.
You got to.
Did you have the deal with WWE like when you were on NXT last year when I saw you there in the front row and all that?
No.
Okay.
I had nothing. I had nothing back then. That was just me saying that I wanted to be on the WWE. That was just like me putting out tweets trying to gain traction. But after the Olympics, that's when it turned serious, like real talks, real business talks. And so when I talked to you beforehand, I already kind of figured where I was gonna go, like knew like 90%. But I told you a little 60% I knew and this, but I kind of already knew where I was gonna go.
Wow. Okay, we got work. I mean, pro wrestler, you got to work us. I appreciate that. Did WWE at any point try to convince you, hey, forget college, you won the championship, national championship, you're good there, come to us full time, no NIL? Did that ever come up?
That actually never came up. I told them that I wanted to go back and finish school, and their number one priority was like, you can do that. And so I was like, okay, let's do and I named image likeness deal because it came out in July. Yeah. And so I told them I want to go back. Vince, Nick Khan, and Triple H all said, go ahead, win the national title. Regardless, everything will still be in place for you. We'll do this, and this for you, and you go back, get your degree, and we'll see you after that. So a part of my deal is I can go on stage during my school year time, so that's kind of cool too.
Wait, what do you mean? So you could be a part of the show, the WWE show, while you're competing at Minnesota?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
How difficult was that? Because this is a brand new world in the world of collegiate athletics, to get Minnesota and the NCAA to sign off on this. How difficult was that for you and your team?
I think that was a fairly easy task. They signed off. Minnesota signed off really quick on it. And since it's sports entertainment, it's not like I'm going out there and doing NFL with college football. You can't do both of that. So I think the way the NCAA rule worked, I was able to work it that I can make an on-stage appearance against whoever and then wrestle a duel the next day if I got back in time. So my first obligation is to compete at Minnesota. But, I got two big obligations right now. But first, I got to wrestle Minnesota. But at the same time, I will be, who knows when I would make my start, but I will be on stage here.
So my understanding, and I'd love for you to clear it up, so they're going to have some sort of training facility, like a whole thing for you at Minnesota. They're setting something up for you so that you can train to be a pro wrestler at the same time while you're training and competing for Minnesota. Is that accurate?
Very accurate, yes.
Who will be training you in pro wrestling while you're doing all of that?
I believe there's gonna be people coming up from Performance Center, like coaches that'll come train me, and a couple other bigger names. So, well, it'll be a fun time.
Have you done any of this yet? Like, have you run the ropes? Have you taken bumps? Have you done that whole thing yet?
Yeah, I've ran the ropes a few times, and I actually when I first went to the Performance Center back in April when WrestleMania was my first time there, I was actually in the ring wrestling with a guy that used to wrestle at Appalachian State. Me and him were going at it. So I actually got to feel the ring already, and I know how to bump off, fall, and it's just perfecting it and get better at it.
Have you talked to any guys who have come from collegiate wrestling to pro wrestling about the transition, about, what to look out for, the ups and downs? Have you picked any of their brains?
I haven't. My brother's down to PC right now, but besides talking to guys like Lesnar and Triple H and such like that, I haven't actually talked to another collegiate wrestler that's been in the WWE.
Okay, how big of a part of all of this was Brock?
He was a good part, just because he's the Brock Lesnar path, like we talked about. He started with WWE, he NFL with the Vikings, and made it all the way to the final stages, get on the team, and then UFC. So, I mean, the Brock Lesnar route is hopeful for me, and I want to pave my own way in my own. I want to do my own destiny. So, right. He was a big help in this. So it was cool that he gave me the guidance. He
didn't listen to your advice about the hair, though.
Sad.
I mean,
I don't know why he didn't.
I mean, everything else looks good. He looks very fit. He's got the flannel shirt. He was at SmackDown. I know you were there as well. I thought they were gonna introduce you. I thought they were gonna have some sort of thing out there. I mean, you're in attendance. You just signed. Was that ever discussed?
I don't know if it's my obligation to say all that.
Oh, okay. Well, I just asked the questions. You can say whatever you want. Was that a thing?
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was. I'm gonna get introduced here one of these days, but okay. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know anything. Just go with the flow right now.
That was a fun show, though, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. You were there.
I was there in the front. Yeah, my kids were there. Heyman was coming up to my kids. It was nuts. It was like one of the best nights I've ever had as a dad.
I didn't know Trae Young was gonna come out. I was backstage and didn't even see him.
Oh wow!
But when he came out, that was lit when he came out. Yeah,
it was brilliant. Yeah, Trae Young, the heel, sticking it to the Knicks fans. In an alternate universe, Gable, what do you do if there is no NIL? If this is last summer and you have to make a call, what do you end up doing?
I would probably still return to Minnesota. Especially last summer with COVID, we didn't really get to experience fans, and so for me to come back, it's not even about me coming back. Like I can move on and go to WWE. I just wanted to have the fans see me one more time. Like I wanted to have like the kids come say hey to me and have like an idol that they can see that's here in Minnesota in their backyard. And that's what I was most worried about. Like I didn't care about going out there winning national title. I know I can go win a national title. I know I can go be dominating. I know I can win the Hodge Trophy again. I wanted the people to see me one more time and have that access to be next to me and have that access to see me perform and right in front of their eyes. People spend thousands of dollars on season tickets, and why would I not come back and give them my 100%, So it would be crazy for me not to come back.
I also think that this is unprecedented because it's somewhat of a window into what might happen in other sports in NCAA. Like, we obviously saw so many guys over the years either not go to college or stay for 1 year, freshman year, and then go to the NBA, let's say. I wonder, do you think as someone, because, you have all this money waiting for you, all these opportunities, but you're like, no, I want to go back. I believe you want to graduate as well. That's a big part of it. You want to compete, you want to defend, and you could still kind of get, you could reap the rewards, but you could do all that. Do you think that this will now change the landscape of, let's say, basketball, where guys who in the past would have left after their freshman year will now stick around longer, which I think is ultimately better for them and the sport, get these NIL deals, but not jump to the NBA sooner than probably they're ready to do so?
Oh yeah, especially a lot of high school players that are not going to college and going to the G League, like Jalen Green and Josh Kumunk, guys like that. They didn't want to go to college just because they didn't get no bread or no money. And so guys like that are going to go to the G League. And so with this NIL, I think it's going to separate a lot of kids that really want to go to college but didn't have the money. But now they can go to college and have millions of dollars to go play for a year and then go to the league, or even stay for 4 years, get the degree, be a student of the game, learn from the best coaches like Coach K and Calipari and stuff like that, and then go to the league. So there's so much that's in between, and obviously it's their decision, but I feel like with a lot of athletes, you're going to probably see a lot of them staying because they can stay on a college campus and be the face of their campus and then leave.
Is there a cap to how much you can earn as far as NIL is concerned, or if you can get it, like you can get an infinite amount of money?
Infinite amount of money. I'm sorry.
That's tremendous. And so there's really, like, as long as you're not competing, like you're not, I suppose you can't do you can't play in the NFL and also compete in wrestling in Minnesota, but as long, like in this case, sports entertainment, you're all good. They won't stop you from making X amount. Wow, that is tremendous.
I can make as much as I want.
That's amazing. Now, as far as the WWE deal is concerned, how many years is it for?
After this year, it's for 3 years.
Okay. Does this year count as one of the three?
Nope. This year does not count.
This
year is just like, this is just extra. So yeah, I get extra and then the 3 years.
Does it kick in after the tournament is over?
Yep, right away.
Okay. Is the plan for you to debut in that world, like in April? Like it's around WrestleMania time. I could see them debuting you at WrestleMania. Like, is that the plan, or do you think you'll have some leeway there?
No comment.
Okay, fair enough. Is the plan still at some point to do MMA?
Yes.
It is.
As of right now, yes. As of right now, I'm 100% WWE, and I will forever probably be. It would be cool to hold a UFC belt. Like I said before, I know there's a lot of people on Twitter that always soft. He didn't want to go to the UFC right away, but I want to pay my own way. I don't want to follow what no one else does. I don't even read Twitter comments anymore. They're just terrible.
Is it bad? Are you getting a lot of hate?
I'm just getting a lot of hate. People are just like, oh, you want to go here and do this instead of actually fighting somebody you're soft. Well, you know how it goes. It's typical haters, But if that time came, I would love to fight. I secured the Olympic gold in wrestling. I think we talked about this before, but why not go out there and get the UFC belt? There's a guy to your right of you holding it up, and he's Olympian too.
That's right.
Daniel Cormier.
He didn't get no Olympic gold though.
He didn't.
Yeah.
I wish he did though.
Yeah.
I wish he did. He's a great. I love DC. I love DC. We still gotta play 2K. He's been dodged me. The new 2K came out. I'm actually really excited because Ronnie 2K DM me. He said he's going to give me a player build. And so I'm ready for it. You know what I'm saying? DC, he don't want smoke. He's scared of me. Barely texts me anymore. He's a soft.
Wow.
So,
you think he's mad? You think he's mad you went WWE and not UFC?
Nah, I think he made a good choice. He told me to go that way.
Okay.
So.
Did they come back? Did they, you said on the show, and I appreciated the honesty that, Dana didn't reach out and all that stuff. After you said that, did anyone reach out to you to try to convince you to come over there?
No one. I mean, I've seen a lot of tweets saying that Dana wanted me in Contender Series, but I don't even know, because me and Dana only had like a couple of text messages saying like, hey, come to Vegas. But I was in SummerSlam and I told you that I couldn't make it to him. So I didn't ditch him. We barely spoke. I know he wanted me to come, but I don't know what the Contender Series thing came about on the news and stuff. And we barely spoke, and Vince had the upper hand. And so, I mean, I've been knowing WWE longer than UFC. So I wanted to start my path there.
So to the best of your knowledge, that Contender Series idea was never actually brought to you?
No, it was never brought to me. I had no clue about it.
Would that have changed anything? I mean, there's not a lot of big money in Contender Series.
No, I wanted my own path.
That's right. But are you bummed that there was never a serious offer made? Were you hoping that they would come strong, or were you just hoping?
I was hoping Dana would have came a lot stronger. I was hoping that he would have pushed the pace a little more. I would love to fight. I'm not scared of fighting. I'm not scared of getting punched. I'm not scared of going out there and losing in front of a big crowd or winning in front of a big crowd. It doesn't matter to me. I go out there to entertain people and for the love of myself, to do something that I love. I mean, I love fighting and I love WWE. Like, I love both. So I wish Dana would have came a little harder. I wish he would have had more like push on me to go that way. But that time is up for now, and I'm 100% with Vince McMahon and that team. And I mean, I'm excited to be where I'm at. I mean, there's no way that I would want to have it.
By the way, just like Bellator, PFL, did any of those guys make a serious offer?
Not really.
Nothing.
Some of them made serious. They talked to my agent Dave Martin. Yeah. I don't really hear. Whenever Dave relays messages to me, it's what I get. But other than that, I was just focused on WWE and UFC.
Yeah. And you mentioned your brother. So your brother's at the Performance Center too. Is he older or younger than you?
He's older. He's 25.
So he wants to go down this path as well, to be a pro wrestler. He just started, right? Didn't they just sign him somewhat recently?
Yep, they just signed him a few weeks ago.
How's that going?
He likes it a lot down there. He's getting the hang of it. Bobby's not a really big talker. He's not a really big like actor type. So he's kind of introverted. So he's got to bring out another side into him. And so I think he's got it. I think he's got it in him. We'll see how he does at the NXT level. So it's just a matter of how he's going to do it. He's going to work hard, and I believe he's got other tools to be the next star too.
How much does he weigh?
He's about 2. He'd be lying on his weight.
Like, is he bigger than you? I'm just trying to get a mental like.
He about 5. He about 5'10", 245.
Okay, so he's a big boy.
He's big. He's big. I'm a lot bigger than him, like body and look wise, but he's a big dude.
Is this something you guys talked about? Like, is it a bit surreal that you're both, part of the WWE family now? Did you guys talk about this as kids?
We actually never talked about it. He really never mentioned WWE until probably like last year. He wanted to get into it, and like it's all his decision.
Really?
I think it was actually a great decision. He just randomly was like, I want to try it out. I'm not wrestling at the Gophers anymore. I want to go try it out. So he got a hold of Heyman and Triple H and those guys, and now he's getting a shot at the Performance Center. So that's real cool. But wow. It is cool that we're in the business. Yeah. Yeah,
that's incredible. And by the way, you mentioned Paul Levesque, Triple H. I want to send him my best. That's a scary thing that he's going through.
Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah, it's sad. Triple H, he's been there for me since probably like
he loves you.
Freshman year of college. Yeah, that's my dog, like literally. So he's been there since my freshman year of college. I met him backstage, and ever since then, he stayed in contact and never left. So like, it was sad hearing that he had that type of health issue. And I saw his wife Stephanie McMahon a couple of days ago in Madison Square Garden, and I gave her my couple words. And so, yeah, I hope he's getting better quick, for real.
Yes, and of course NXT's his baby. But my thing that I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, like there's a chance, with them changing, you might not go that route. Like in the past, someone like you go NXT and then you go to main roster. Is there a chance that you go straight to the main roster?
There is. I think there's a very big chance that I might go straight to the main roster and not be in NXT. You know, I was open for anything, but with the way things are going, I think I'm going to jump straight to the main roster. And I know there's a lot to learn, and I'm ready to soak everything in like a sponge and just be ready to go out there and put on a good show for the crowd.
Yeah. Wow. So it could be like this time next year, you're like in the mix. This time next year, you're a defending champ. You're already in the mix. You're doing your thing. Do you know what kind of style you'll have as a like? What do you think you'll? Who do you think you'll be? You'll be a little Kurt Angle style. You'll be a bit of a bruiser style like Brock. What do you think your style will be?
I don't know my style yet, but I think I can pull off American Hero really well. You know, especially being a gold medalist. You know, Kurt was the only one to. You know, I don't got a broken freaking neck, and I hear it all day on Twitter. Like, you don't have a broken neck, you're not the real gold medalist.
Get at it.
And so I hear it all day on Twitter. All my messages are, you don't have a broken neck. But I'm sorry I didn't have a broken neck. I still got a gold medal. Just like you
want a gold medal like in the freaking last seconds, like one of the great comebacks in Olympic history. Screw those people. I can't believe people talking smack to you. That's crazy. Now I don't feel that bad. Like, could you imagine them talking smack to me? I'm just a puny nobody. You're freaking Gable. Like, and they talk tough to you. That just shows how crazy people are.
Crazy. Very crazy. Internet warriors. That's how it goes. Everyone's an internet warrior. But yeah, I mean, there's so many styles that I can play. There's so many styles that I'm ready to play, and I'm happy and open to anything. American hero, bruiser, heel, bad guy, whatever, good guy. I mean, I think I got the characteristics, the charisma to be everything. And so I'm just waiting for my time, and you'll see when I step on the stage what I'm going to be.
Any talks with your coach at Minnesota about, you know, like, look, man, you're coming back. You got to be all in here, right? I mean, everyone's coming for you. You got the bullseye. Not only are you defending champ, you're the Olympic gold medalist. And he talks about, you know, I get what you're doing, but you need to be all in here. You can't be half. You can't be half in WWE, half in NCAA wrestling. Is he worried about that?
No, he's not worried about that. We go hard. I mean, me and Coach Eggum and all of our coaches at Minnesota, we go hard in the wrestling room. Our focus is 100% win the national title first and be that WWE while I'm there second. And so it all equals out to it's one thing at one. Like, nothing is above anything. So WWE, when I go on stage, that's my character. I go out there and do my thing. I come right back to wrestling, refocus, and I'm back on the mat. And so we actually haven't had no talks like that, but they know I'm ready. I mean, I stepped off the airplane at the Olympics, and days later I was back in the weight room getting ready to go to the World Championships, but I had to decline because I was just too busy. And so I'm ready to wrestle right now, and I'm ready to go to Oslo for the Freestyle World Champions again, but I can't because I declined already and I didn't wrestle the trials because I was just running around meeting everybody.
Right. What about 2024 Paris?
It just depends how my.
Don't be kayfabing me, Gable. Don't be kayfabing me again. All right. I know when kayfabe Gable pops up, and I see him popping up again.
I can't say too much.
Okay. Do you know what you're gonna do?
I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. You know, that's a long ways away, but
it's actually not that long. It's 3 years. It's shorter than usual.
3 years, but I'm always ready.
Okay.
I'm always ready.
So you're not saying no. This doesn't. In other words, this whole situation doesn't mean that you are closing the door on defending the gold.
That's what I don't know. It all depends on my obligation with WWE. Like I said, after this year, I'm 100% with WWE until that deal is up. And if I resign, then I'm still 100% with them. So I'm not the boss of the situation, so I can't say so. I feel.
And just a couple more things. What are the chances between now and March that you actually compete in WWE? Like, could you? That's allowed, right? You could compete in WWE while the season is going on. Yes.
Yes, it's allowed. Yeah.
Could this happen?
It could. That's very likely.
Very likely.
Very, very likely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, very, very likely.
Wow.
But who knows? I don't know what day. It could be Monday Night Raw today. Yeah. Or it could be Monday Night SmackDown Friday. I mean, I don't know. It could happen any day now, but.
Well, I recognize this little room that you're in. I'm assuming this is in Minnesota because you were here last time. And I don't think you're in Minnesota.
I'm at home right now.
Okay. I mean, you could fly right after this. It's not that tough for someone like you.
Private.
That's right. I mean, you're a Heyman guy, so Heyman's got the private jets. I know that lifestyle. So this is all very exciting, man. So in conclusion, you sign with the WWE NIL deal. You're staying for one last year at Minnesota. You're going to defend the title, but you're also going to graduate, which is a big deal to you. 3-year deal. In the next 10 years, you will also while still being a WWE guy, make the move over to MMA, win the heavyweight title there, and then you'll be the first ever, I do believe, Olympic champ, NCAA champ, WWE champ, UFC champ.
If it plays out like that, then yes. Something like that.
All right. Well, you played it perfectly, man. You did a great job. Way to go. I think you made the right call. And I'm invested. I'm not a big, DC always trying to get me into NCAA wrestling. You got to watch this, that. Masvidal the same.
You got to watch now.
Now I'm invested.
This is what I really liked about it. Because WWE is so mainstream and college wrestling is not really that big compared like NCAA football and NCAA basketball. So for me to do this and come back, I think every WWE fan that is will potentially be a fan of me has to tune in to the national tournament, has to tune into our duels, and every NCAA wrestling fan has to tune in to WWE if they're a fan of me.
100%.
And so, like, just think about how big college wrestling may be this year just because of an NIL deal with WWE, which is crazy, But
no, I'm that guy. Like, I will now be invested. Watch you long before the tournament. Maybe I could come down there and watch. I would love that. I would love to experience it. I've never experienced it.
You got to pull up first duel.
Oh, when is that?
BC's got to pull a first duel because we wrestle Oklahoma State.
Oh, wow. When is that?
I think it's November. Hold on.
Oh, I will root for Minnesota. Gophers all the way.
November 14th.
Okay.
I believe.
So it's Minnesota versus Oklahoma State. First duel.
First duel at Minnesota.
Smush their faces into the mat, all right? And then kick them.
Like
DC was dirty, too. He used to kick people. Yeah, DC would kick people. He would get into fights. You see that? Look it up on YouTube. DC would get into fights. He was dirty. Dirtiest player in the game. Daniel Cormier.
I know he's dirty. That's why I said that's why he's avoiding me. Because I might do the same thing to him. So
well, he's watching right now. He'll probably respond. He secretly watches everything. Yeah. Gable, congratulations, my man. Very happy for you. Looking forward to it. Good luck this season, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. See you again.
All right, there he is. Gable Steveson, the man. Remember the name. I mean, you probably know it already at this point. Killing it. What a talent. I hope you guys recognize just how special that whole situation is. Unprecedented. Like, last year, anyone in his shoes couldn't do that. Could not do that. Massive. What's going on here? I'm doing this new thing now where it's like a gift and a curse, if I'm being honest. I got the text. I don't know how to get rid of it. I got the text up on my computer. So usually I kind of like silence the phone and no one bothers me. But you got the text up here. And people are texting me, but the names aren't associated, so I'm trying to decipher based on the number who this person is texting me. And so you have to go back to the old text. Oh, that's that person. Okay. But it's good to have. You're keeping in contact. Hey, by the way, speaking of WWE, shout out to Biggie, who's a big MMA fan who I met a few weeks ago. Well, actually, no, a few months ago. He announced on Twitter that he's going to cash in his money in the bank. So I look forward to that this evening. But what a time I had on Friday with my kids, the night before the 20th anniversary of 9/11, which is a very difficult time here in New York City. And so many people know someone who was affected. I just can't believe it's been 20 years. Lucky enough to go with my two boys, Oliver and Walter. We were sitting really close. If you would have told 12-year-old me, forget 12-year-old, if you would have told 7-year-old me whose parents took him to the Montreal Forum as a first grade surprise party present when I turned 7 or 8, whatever age you turn when you're in the first grade. Montreal Forum, Bret Hart against Mr. Perfect was one of the big matches. Ended in a draw. Fantastic match. They were money together. Ended in a draw. Bret Hart goes on top of Mr. Perfect 1-2, and then the time ran out. And we were up. But I loved it. Some of my friends fell asleep. I remember I was a little embarrassed. If you would have told that kid, so that was probably 90. some 21 years later. No, 31. Jeez, I got old. 31 years later, I would be there in the front with my boys, my sons, that I helped create, getting high fives from the guy, like that close. Drew McIntyre sweaty, high five to my kid, and then he's touching me because he's all sweaty. It's one of the all-time great nights that I've ever had as a parent. And then what was super cool was some of the guys, like Heyman recognized me. Heyman's the best. I love Heyman. Happy birthday to him on Saturday. So he was like rubbing the title in my kid's face. You know how cool that is as a parent? Amazing. The Mysterios, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, came up to me. Dominic saying he's a fan of MMA, and Rey I've talked to before. Like, it was just amazing. Like, to be able to do those things with my kids as a parent, you could say as a byproduct of my life, my success, and to give them those opportunities, that's what every parent dreams of. Not necessarily to take them to a WWE event, although I highly suggest it. It's a great time. Just very cool. Like Roman Reigns winking, like just freaking cool, man. To see the looks on their faces, to see how pumped they were. I kept telling them that we had to go home just as, as a rib, as they say in the business, because it was getting late and they were saying no. And then this guy comes out and that guy comes out. It was just a lot of fun. So that was a memorable one. There are certain nights that you'll always remember and always talk about as a parent. That felt like one of those nights. Got my massive... I'm big into coconut water these days, in case people were wondering. They should sponsor the show. I got my pencil back. Later on in the program, we're going to be joined by Jake Paul, the most talked about man in fighting. Who would have thought we'd get to this point? But it does seem like every single week someone is calling him out, asking to fight him. We'll also be joined by Suga Sean O'Malley. I am looking forward to that very much. And by the way, shout out to Robert Pearson, my man, Robert S. Pearson. Roberts Pearson. He's got many monikers. Did you see that picture he made today for today's show with the Lego and the drawings and stuff? I mean, that's just amazing. So shout out to him. Thank you very much to him and everyone who's been working on the show. Alas, without further ado, let us say hello to our next guest. He returns to action on November 6th, Madison Square Garden. There he is. He's back. The best-looking man in MMA, Luke Rockhold. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Luke, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since we last spoke.
Been a long time, huh? Been years, I'd say. I'd have to say. Has it?
Doing a proper show like this on my program, which just came back, the most popular show in MMA, the show of record, the show of shows, to have you back at the same time with my show. I actually decided to come back when I found out that you were coming back. I was like, all right, Luke's coming back. We're coming back as well. And so let's start there. Why are you coming back, Luke?
I think a lot of reasons. Ending it on my own terms, I think is a big deal for me. I feel like I haven't done myself justice. The last couple fights, I don't think I've fought to my potential. I think I fought with a lot of weight on my shoulders and didn't really perform to what my liking. I'm getting older, and I think there's if it's ever a time, it's going to be now. And I still feel like I'm the best in the game when I'm on, and I just gotta put the work in, get healthy, and get right. Obviously there was shoulder injuries, and there was a few different things I had to work through too in the process.
I remember talking to you around 2 or so years ago, and you did say, to your credit, I'm not retiring, I'm not going to use the R word, but you did kind of seem to be leaning in that direction. At what point did you start to turn in the opposite direction and start to think about, okay, I'm actually going to start thinking about coming back now?
You there?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit on us, but now you're back. Did you hear my question, or do you want me to repeat it?
I did hear your question. I think time away was necessary. It's good to get away from the bullshit. There's a lot of politics and fighting, and I'm not always on the best path with the politicians behind the scenes. But the time away definitely refreshed me, fired me up, got me wanting to come back and want to do the thing. So I do miss fighting. And when you're away from it long enough, you get that itch and you get that fight in you, and you want to come kick some fucking ass. So I'm here. I'm excited. I think the opponent, it's a good stage. It's a good time.
Once you decided that you were coming back, was it always 185 or did you consider 205?
205 was always a stretch for me. I was always too big. I mean, when I walked in the cage, I was like maybe 216, something like that at most, bulking up as big as I can, fighting bigger guys. And it's just not naturally me, I'd say. I'm more, obviously everything I've done has been at 185 at my championship weight. So I feel free. I feel more natural, more mobile, more, just more, it could complements my style better. So
it is a weird thing, though.
That's where I thrive.
It is a weird thing, though, because I feel like that 205 fight has aged well over time. Like, okay, when you fought Jan, it's like, oh, he lost to Jan. Jan was in a kind of not journeyman status, but he wasn't known to be the elite. Now he's the champ, and I feel like, there's no. I mean, like Izzy just lost to Jan. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of there, right? Do you feel the same way about that fight?
Yeah, I mean, he's good. My last two guys have been very good. Yes. I mean, I've fought two of the best guys ever in the game, and so me coming back, is warranted.
So when I spoke,
he was big. He was a big, strong dude, and I feel like it's going to age even better. I feel like he's going to win this next fight, hopefully. So then we'll really age well into this fight, November 6th.
So I spoke to you, I think, in June. And this is when you were coming back and there was some talks of opponents, and it seemed like there was talks of, or at least interest in you fighting Khamzat Chimaev. And then what happened?
It was interesting. I'm not going to lie. Like we had thrown multiple names out and they were just shooting down names, and like whether I wasn't ranked high enough because I had taken my time away, or, they just didn't. I mean, the other guys were just turning down fights. There's multiple guys that had turned down fights and didn't want to fight. And then they threw me that name of Sean Strickland. That was the only name they actually gave me. And I was like, who the fuck is this kid? No one even knew who he was until he won his last fight. So now he's got a ranking, and then we got Madison Square Garden. So that's that's what got me going.
You had honestly,
Chimaev was like, that was out of the dark. The UFC just kind of threw that one at me. I was like, wow. I was like, that's interesting. This kid's like the next hype machine. He thinks he can beat everybody, claims he can beat everybody. I like the matchup. It got me excited to get up off the couch and do my job. And there was nothing but dead silence on his end.
Any reason why?
Now he's starting to bark. Now he's starting to bark back, and I think he's getting a little more confidence from that. Not barking back. So we'll see.
Barking back at you?
No, just being publicly speaking.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think he went silent. For a little bit, didn't he? I don't know.
But you like that fight. For the record, like a lot of people aren't raising their hand to fight Khamzat Chimaev. You were down in your comeback fight.
100%. I was ready. They gave me 3 different dates. One date was very quick. I think Max was supposed to fight something.
July 17th.
It was a little too soon. I was like, I love the fight. I love the fight, but when we push it back, and they pushed it back to August 7th, and I was like, okay. And then they said, and I was like, all right, I'm in. And then they pushed the 28th, and I was like, 100% I'm in. Let's go. 3 different dates.
Wow. And I'm assuming you've watched him. What do you think? He's overhyped? Do you think people get too, hyped about him because?
I never said he's overhyped. I hear good things about him. I think he's tough. I think he's good wrestling. He's got good. I don't know about his ground game. He seems decent, but he's an interesting matchup, and that's what I wanted. I wanted something interesting.
Mm-hmm. So you end up with Sean Strickland. Yeah. Is it because you saw him against Hall, and then you're like, all right, this guy's interesting enough. I'll take this one.
Oh, there's nothing else out there. There's no other options. I mean, he got a ranking, and it was Madison Square Garden, a venue that I haven't really graced. The one time I was supposed to fight there, I got injured with Weidman. So the stage was nice. The opponent was all right. I grew to not liking the kid quite a bit, so that just adds a little more to it. I think more interest. want to shut this kid down, to shut his mouth and put him away for good.
What's your problem with Sean
Back in
Strickland?
the trailer park. I just don't like him, man. He's got a bad attitude. He's that guy in the gym. You just, no one likes him. The worst energy you ever felt. Like, I didn't like him at first. I was hungover. I think the first time he walked into the gym, I was hungover and I was beat up, and I just watching the guy run around the gym and bark and talk and just say the dumbest shit, and just not really, like, you know, not a good person. Just kind of like just trying to put off everybody and like just not care for anybody, you know, in the gym. And so I got kind of frustrated just listening to him talk. I'm like, this kid's a fucking idiot. I was like, maybe I will. I'll put the gloves on. I'll go spar him. So I'll work with him one time. So that's the only encounter I really had with him.
Oh,
Other than that, him saying that he wants to kill people in the ring.
yeah.
Like, it would be cool if I killed the guy. And then, like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Those are the people that need to die themselves. Those are the people. And you want to talk about coming in the parking lot, coming after me? I didn't say anything really about you, but you're going to come in the parking lot and get what did you say? What did you say? A misdemeanor or some shit? Motherfucker, you come at me, you touch me in the parking lot, I'll be the one in jail. I promise you that. And you'll be the one who needs to question. People will have to question if you're fucking alive.
Now, and let me ask you, this sparring session in the gym, when was this?
I don't know, like 6 months ago, something like that.
Oh, not that long ago. Is that Ruka?
Yeah.
Wow. One sparring match?
Just one.
How'd it go? Can't talk about it.
Well, he's about to find out.
I'm getting a deja vu of the Bisping thing when he called himself Strikeforce champ because of the sparring. We don't want to go down that path again.
Yeah, we can go down that path again. You know, we got the first time we got that one right.
That's right.
The first time.
So you felt him. You have a relationship with him in terms of you've been able to be there with him in the cage. You've sparred him, so you have some knowledge of him. I'm assuming you feel like this is a nice little kind of tune-up fight. You're viewing this as a tune-up fight, right? Like, this is a nice little entry back into the UFC. Get this guy who's on some kind of roll, and then we're talking big fights, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kid's got a good ranking, and this is a big stage. You know, this is a real fight. The kid's tough.
Okay.
So I'm not. There's no buildups. This is it. This is now. Of course, I'm not here for one fight. I'm here to go for it. I'm here to go for fucking Izzy. I'm here to go to the gold, and that's what I want. And that's what I'm here for. So Strickland is the fucking path. Let's take this bitch out.
How many fights left on your deal?
I think I got 4 left, something like that.
The reason I ask is, we've had some people, they want to come back, and for whatever reason, like the UFC kind of let them go, happened with Rumble, let them go. Corey Anderson asked to be out. Did you consider asking for your release before coming back?
That wasn't an option. They weren't letting me go.
Why?
No.
You asked.
Crickets, baby. No. I mean, like, it's been an interesting talk back and forth over the time of my walk off to walking back in, and it's been a lot of conversations, and it was just apparent that I was not going to be let go.
Okay. The reason I asked this is you have been vocal about some of the things you don't like about the UFC, vocal about some of the things you don't like about UFC President Dana White, and so I'm wondering if part of the reason why you were vocal was to try and get them to let you go. Like, hey, I'm an unhappy camper here. I don't really want to be here. I don't want to work with you guys. Just let me go, and I'll go away. Was that part of the strategy?
No. That's not a strategy. That's a dumb strategy. If anyone wants to follow strategy, that's not the strategy. Because you say that shit, they're going to want to lock you down even more.
Right. So why are you saying this?
That's the opposite of the strategy. You want to be the nice guy. You want to try to butter them up and get the fuck out. No, I just speak my mind and say who I am and how I feel, and for better or for worse, it is what it is. I don't give a fuck. I'll do whatever I want. I'm not gonna kiss anybody's ass. I'm not gonna hold my lip. I'm gonna fucking say it just how I feel.
How do you feel about the state of the MMA business right now?
This kid Jake Paul is bringing a lot of attention to fighting, and I think it is helping. and a lot of the other fights too. Everyone else too. I mean, all this whole celebrity world is trying to be a fighter. It's kind of funny, kind of cool, and kind of stupid all at the same time. You know, this is like, guys, everyone's trying to get paid to fight. Everyone loses a little bit of relevancy in their career, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to fight now. I'm going to fight." Just sometimes people need to stay in the lane, but at the same time, it is cool because it is bringing popularity and awareness to the sport.
But isn't it interesting? They're
There's
going
a lot
to
of
boxing.
bums out there trying to get paid.
They're going to boxing. They're not coming to MMA to do this. So what does that say about the business of boxing versus the business of MMA?
The business of boxing is a much more lucrative business. You get a what's called the Muhammad Ali Act. You have what's called, we can bid to promote. Promoters can bid to the fighters, not just monopolized by one company who dictates what you get paid. So they're taking 60 to 8% of the revenue, whereas we're taking 16% of the revenue. Most other sports are taking 50% of the revenues. So if you want to balance all that out, yes, there's the balancing game of fighting, why people choose different routes. Boxing is getting paid. And so why would you fight a much more dangerous sport and not get paid as much? All those celebrity people they're going to jeopardize themselves like that. Mm-hmm. They don't want that. They don't have that dog in them. They don't have that nastiness. That's why you box. That's why you bitch and you box.
Okay, so I posted something about fighters not coming together and all this stuff, and why I probably, after the Cannoneer thing, and you wrote on my Instagram, you were like, I think you wrote "sad but true" or something like that when I wrote this. Would it be fair to say that you believe that this would behoove the fighters, or it would be good for the fighters to try to come together, to have a collective voice, to have collective bargaining, to have a seat at the table, but you also don't think, because everyone's looking out for themselves, selfish, that it won't happen, at least not in your time as an active fighter?
No one has enough balls. No one has enough cojones. That's the problem. And there's not enough. There's very few people that have the fucking balls, but to get the right amount of people together to do that thing, that would never happen. Not in any foreseeable future. Right. There's no one. They give out enough to make everyone come back for more. You know what I mean? And then someone fucking sparks up a conversation, and they get shelved until they run out of money and they want to come back, and they have to do what they have to do, and they have to take the paycheck they have to take. This is the game we play.
Do you have the balls to do it? Do you want to do it?
I'll do whatever I want. I think I've spoken my mind enough to you understand that I'm going to say exactly what I feel, how I feel. The fighting is fighting. I'm under contract, and I just want to fight, and I want a chance to get back my gold and finish this bitch on my own terms. And so that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Given the landscape and the business, was there a part of you where like, yeah, I do feel this way, but also the 16%, the this and that, like, I don't want to go through all that again? Or did that never come up? Did you like, I'm back, I'm fighting, I want this for myself, for pride, not for business, not for anything else, just so I can end things my way? Like, did you have that? Did you? Because it's very. Here's why I asked the question.
That's the thing I had to come to grips with. My time away is like, I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of it. But like, but I know that I'm still the best at what I do, and for myself, my pride, and my own. This is for me, 100%.
Okay. Do you think it will ever happen?
This is for the people that believe in me, and my family, my friends, and everybody out there that's fucking got my back. There's a lot of people that do, and so I'm doing this for all of us. For sure, but most importantly, it's for me.
Do you think it happens anytime soon?
What's that?
The fighters coming together and.
I mean, no. I mean, if they're going to do that to Francis, and then no one else, none of his two brothers aren't going to get behind him and sack up and be the man they should have been when he got shelved. You got two Nigerian brothers, the champions, that should have just stood by him and been the man. Then maybe that could have changed the landscape, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. You're referring to.
That's all. I saw an opportunity. I saw an opportunity there. That's the opportunity I saw. Other than that, you need 25 guys. 25 guys not coming together. Maybe more. I don't know. Maybe less, give or take. That shit ain't gonna happen.
Or the managers with their big stables, right? Less managers, but they can maybe get everyone on board.
A couple managers that play parts, and
Wait, are you implying, Luke, that there are managers who are more on the side of the UFC than the fighters? You're not saying that, are you?
What?
Come
you talking
on.
about, dude?
What are you talking
Come
about?
on, bro.
You talking about that there's actual like guys who care more about their standing with the UFC than their actual clients?
I'm just a fighter, bro. I'm just a fighter. That's all I know.
So you were saying you thought there was a big opportunity for Izzy and Usman to stand up for Ngannou and come together because they're all champions, right? They got the clout.
That was the only thing that I saw that would actually could have leveled the playing field and changed things for the better. Is that when you fuck with Francis and you got this three amigos Nigerian brotherhood, if those two would have stood up, they could have fucked. They could have fucked deep and hard.
Now,
those two didn't step up.
Now, what do you say to a guy who came to train at AK recently, Kevin Holland, who's like, "Hey, man, I'm happy."
I DM'd Kevin Holland the moment I heard that bullshit he said. I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, kid? Come on!" Like, I'd just be like, "Yeah, you lose a couple more fights and you can be on the other side of that fucking argument."
Right.
And it's not. It's just like, yeah. He's naive. He's a good kid. He's naive.
What did he say back, or did he not respond?
About that. I did. Yeah, we talked about it.
I love this new Luke Rockhold. This is great. You've always kind of been this guy, but I feel like you're a lot more vocal now. Why? Why are you more vocal? Like you just said, you speak up, you get shelled.
Yeah, because I fucking grew up and I have a peace of mind, and I'm not a kid anymore. I understand the business. I understand I can do anything I want elsewhere too. You know, I mean, like the opportunities. I'm not here looking for handouts. I understand my leverage. If you don't understand leverage, you're not in demand.
Mm-hmm. But like
leverage yourself.
Stuff like, putting the crypto thing on your shirt and all that stuff. You guys aren't getting a cut of that. How are you going to feel about that come November 6th?
You can, yeah, none of it all sucks. You know what sucks is wearing a fucking snake on my goddamn fucking thing. Who the fuck wants a snake on the UFC? Like, you think the NBA or the fucking MLB, they got a fucking snake on their outfit? What the fuck is this shit? That pisses me off. I don't want to wear no snake on my outfit.
It's mainstream. Uniform is better that way, I was told.
The snake. Basketball player's got a basketball player. Baseball player's got a baseball player in the logo. We got a fucking snake.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. I feel for you guys. I think, and the UFC will say that I'm trying to be a troublemaker here. I just feel like I don't want to see. Yeah, we're like two peas in a pod. I watched Tito Ortiz and Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort and Evander Holyfield. I know Holyfield's a boxer, but I'm watching guys in their 40s and 50s fight, probably because they weren't very good with their money, also probably because they didn't get paid what they were owed. And now I'm worried that the guys I'm watching now in their 30s and 40s are going to have to do the same thing because they're not getting any money. I just want you guys to get what you are owed, what you are deserving of. 50% down the middle, like it is in other sports. You sign a $1.5 billion deal with ESPN, you guys deserve some of that money.
Those are team sports. Those are team sports getting paid 50%. All right. Boxing is the closest thing related, and it's way less popular, and they're getting 60 to 80% of the revenue.
All right. Even better.
All right. So, I mean, if you want to really compare it, we shouldn't be getting 50. We should be getting more.
Okay. Fair enough.
That shit.
All right. There you go.
But, I mean, if you really want to break that down, but at least, have a governing body and split the fucking thing. It's like we're a bigger sport than anybody else in this game right now, so why shouldn't we get paid half that shit?
And here's the thing. Kudos to them. They're going to keep pushing. They're going to keep taking. They're going to keep taking it. And you guys aren't saying anything. Oh, here's a crypto thing. You guys are going to get zero of that, but you got to wear it, and you can't put your own sponsors. Even if they let you put one sponsor on there, like PFL, okay, or at least they do two, actually. That feels a little fair. But here, it's just continuing to push to just see at what point are you guys going to break. And that's what I'm saying. I see no breaking in sight. So maybe everyone's happy with it.
There's not enough. Not enough people with balls, man. Not enough. It's yeah. If I was in their position, I'd do the same thing, probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no resistance. Now, what about you and Michael Bisping? Are you guys buds now? What's happening here? I mean, you guys were like mortal enemies, and I see you clowning around. I was bummed when I saw this. Can I be honest? I was a little bummed.
You're bummed. I mean, it's just I I see him in the gym here and there, and it's just like I'm not going to nowhere to hang out with Michael. No offense, but he's all right. He's all right guy. I think he's grown. Like as you say, people grow up, people grow and move on, and just whatever. See him in the gym.
You actually train together?
I'm not gonna just not really. A little bit. We grappled. Saw that.
Wow, that's amazing. So no animosity when you see him.
I let it go. I'm over it. I'm good.
I love it. I mean, part of me loves it. Part of me feels like the whole thing was a ruse, that you were kayfabing us the whole time.
No, it's not the case.
Okay.
Forgive and forget.
Now, where are you right now? Like, what city are you in right now?
I am in Malibu right now.
You're in, okay, so when I see you at AK sometimes with DC, I saw you there, I think, last week. So what are you doing? You jumping around?
Yeah, I just went up there to get some wrestling in with DC, work on my wrestling and just kind of grind, get harder. And I got all the guys up there with AK. So just to see where I'm at, test the waters, kind of move around up and down that, you got to gauge yourself to see exactly get different perspectives, different looks. That's always been my game,
Who will be in your corner?
Test the waters in different. I don't know. Let's see.
You haven't decided?
I haven't fully decided on my entire corner, no.
What are the chances Khabib is in your corner?
I need to work with Khabib.
Okay, where's he at? He was saying you were being lazy, you're golfing, this and that. Where's he at?
He's got family, he's got kids, he's got a lot on his table. He's a man in demand. I think they're going to come out here like October, November, something like that. We'll see. But they got the whole crew. The guys, they always move mobile.
Is it true?
So, we'll see. You never know.
Is it true Islam ragdolled you? That's what Javier Mendez said.
Ragdolled me. Javier gets a little too far down that Russian stream sometimes. He's drinking a Stoli, I think. I don't know what's going on with it. Ragdolled me. He did throw me. I'm not gonna lie. I did Islam used to I used to use him for training back when I fought Machida.
Wow.
And I remember I was using him. I was kind of light sparring with him. He's this new kid showed up, big 55-pounder. I was just I was just moving. It was a good body to move with, and I was underestimating a bit. And I was I kind of got lazy on the fence. And I remember he hit me with a massive head-on throw, just threw me over the top. I was like, no. I got back up. He's got some tricks, no doubt. Ragdoll, I don't know about that, but he did catch me kept being lazy and threw me once or twice.
I don't want everyone to get all upset. He said something like that. I might be paraphrasing that word, but it was very clear that he said that he was throwing you around. And this is a guy who's 155. You're, 155, 170. You're 185, 205.
No, there's difference. There's between throwing somebody around and then throwing somebody.
Right.
Catching somebody with a throw. Yeah. He's tough. I mean, it's as tough as they come. I'm telling you. I mean, I've wrestled and grappled with the best of the best, and Islam, him and Khabib are miles apart from everybody else at that weight in the grappling and the wrestling. There's no one that's going to really be able to compete with him there.
Future champ in a lot of people's eyes.
I ragdoll every other 55-pounder in the world, and those are the only two that I don't ragdoll.
Wow. Okay. Before I let you go, true or false? You happened to see Sean O'Malley's dad one time, and we're talking to him about Chito Vera. Is this a true story or not a true story, Luke? What's going on here?
Fucking randomly, yeah. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, he showed up to our not at a bar. I read some shit that Sean O'Malley kind of fucking just voiced out. It was stupid. I actually gave the kid credit. We were drinking and it was pretty lit. We were going to a festival in Montana, and he showed up to our ranch, our private ranch, with our crew, to come with us to the festival.
Okay.
So I'd come from training with Chito yesterday, and I was and then this kid Sean O'Malley just turned down another fight with Chito right after that. I was just laughing at this, how stupid this kid is, thinking he's undefeated over and over and talking. It was just his whole vibe. Then he contradicts himself with this whole comment with me. So anyway, so I just Lucy, sup. I was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I was like, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Chito's one of my best friends. Your boy got beat. Just laughing. But I was like, but he's a tough kid. He's creative. I actually like him. I was like, oh, he's a good kid. Tough kid, but he got beat.
I gotta
That was it. And so I don't know where it got drawn out on the line. I don't know who said what, why he would say that to his kid, or his kid would even fucking say that. Why would you acknowledge the fact that I said that you got beat? Because I thought you didn't get beat. You didn't get beat by anybody, right? You're undefeated. So why would you even acknowledge the fact of me having a talk with your dad about you getting beat?
Well,
it doesn't make any sense. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Most importantly, I don't give an F. Luke Rockhold is one of my favorite characters in MMA right now. I mean, please keep this up, Luke, for all of our entertainment. As someone who's been covering you for quite some time, I mean, I was there. Happy anniversary, by the way. I was there in Cincinnati. It was, I think, last week, the anniversary, 10-year anniversary of that great card against when you fought Jacare to win the Strikeforce title. What a great night that was for you. You've come a long way, my friend. It's nice to see you blossom into this personality, and I hope you keep it up, all right?
Always. Change. You too, Ariel.
Okay. We'll talk soon. Welcome back, Luke.
Say hi to Sean O'Malley for me.
Okay. Well, and Jake, too. Do you want me to say hi to Jake or no?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's it.
All right. There he is. Luke Rockhold.
The boy. Huh?
The man. Cheers. Wow. Where did this Luke Rockhold come from? I could have had him on here for an hour. That was tremendous stuff. Luke Rockhold, I mean, hey, spitting FAX, as the kids like to say. Or is it FACTS? I don't know. Whatever it was fun stuff. Also, that GIF comes to mind, the no lies detected one. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he's talking about the business of MMA. But here's one that people don't bring up about the business of MMA. You talk about these people jumping over. They're not jumping over to MMA. They're jumping over to boxing because right now that's where the money is. And I see a lot of people also saying about, hey, boxing is dead. Look, boxing is dead. This is an indication that boxing is dead. Actually, if you ask me, this is an indication that boxing is alive and well. If boxing was a dead piece of wood, no one would want to jump on this train. No one would want to leech off of it. No one would want to do these sort of freak show whatevers, right? If boxing was not cool, if boxing wasn't lucrative, if boxing wasn't something that would get people talking and interested, no one would be doing this. So all this stuff that's going on is actually an indication that boxing is alive and well. Now, is it fair to, use these events and these fights as a referendum on the state of boxing? No, it's not fair, because you got Joshua Usyk coming up. You've got Katie Taylor doing her thing, Amanda Serrano doing her thing. You got Terrence Crawford doing his thing. You got Errol Spence doing his thing. You got Canelo doing his thing. You got Lomachenko doing his thing. You got Teofimo Lopez doing his thing. You got all these people doing their thing. What's going on in a Triller fight or some celebrity, whatever it is, has nothing to do with those people. But actually, if you ask me, those people getting into it, those people trying to capitalize off of it, is an indication that they're doing something right, that boxing is alive and well, that boxing is thriving. It's not the opposite. Don't get that twisted. If it was dead, no one would want to do it. So, in any event, let us move along now to our next guest. Excited to talk to him. One of the most popular fighters in the sport, sometimes polarizing as well, but you always watch when it's the Suga Show. You're always tuning in. You're always having takes. You're always debating, all that stuff and more. Let's go back to the Zoom machine and say hello to the inimitable Suga Sean O'Malley. There he is in his car once again. Sean, how are you?
Ariel, I'm doing good. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great. It's good to talk to you, Sean. How are things?
Things are good, Ariel. Always good.
How's fatherhood?
The best.
Yeah?
It's the best.
Has it changed you?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm always changing, so I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Why do you feel like you're always changing, Sean?
So I'm just constantly learning, constantly growing. Believe it or not, I train. I know some people don't think I train, but sometimes I do.
Who doesn't think you train? That's a crazy thing to say.
I get that a lot, actually.
Really?
I don't know. Sometimes I peek through the comments. Yeah, sometimes I peek through the comments, and it's like, I should get back to the gym. So, yeah, sometimes I trade now.
Well, I was happy to see you a couple weeks ago, Sean, in Cleveland. I believe you were there to support your friend Jake Paul. What did you make? I was talking a little bit about all the stuff, the boxing and everything. It was a great night, great atmosphere. Did you enjoy yourself? Did you have fun?
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. I thought you did great. I saw you backstage.
Thank
I thought
you.
you did fantastic. I
Thank
enjoyed you the whole lead up to it. Everything was really good. Showtime put on a great performance, or a great, it was very entertaining. Yeah, I enjoyed that whole show. I thought it was really cool.
How did you and Jake meet?
Fuck, I don't remember. I think it just started on Instagram. I think the first time we met was after his fight, after he fought Ben. But we were talking back and forth on Instagram. So the first time we actually met was after he knocked out Ben.
Oh, not that long ago.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's so much to talk to you about, Sean. It's rare to get a chance to talk to you, so I wanna hit some stuff here. Frankie Edgar, New York, not happening, right? Of course, we found out that he's going in a different direction. Chito Vera. Ultimately, did it just come down to the fact that you didn't want to pay the New York taxes, or was the timing not right for you? What was the ultimate decision?
The taxes were just on top of it. It was Tim has a huge tournament, a big jiu-jitsu tournament. He's had it scheduled for a long time, and it was the same weekend or very close, and it was either I fight without my coach or I don't fight. So I thought that was a pretty obvious answer. I'm not going to take a fight on the same weekend where it interferes with something he had already scheduled. And then on top of that, I'm like, why would I pay extra taxes fighting in New York when I could fight in Vegas a month later? Obviously, they wanted Frankie to fight New York, and I said, cool. But I'm not really worried about it. I would have loved to fight Frankie in Vegas December 11th. I would have loved that. That would have been ideal. That would have been what I wanted. But they wanted him to fight in wherever New York.
Right. Okay, so it wasn't about the matchup. It was just the timing, really. And then on top of that, the taxes thing and all that. But it was really just about the date.
100% it was about the date. I loved the matchup. I didn't, I would love for, but I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna, things I don't really stress about.
Sure.
So.
And so are you fighting on December 11th?
That sounds like the plan. Still 12, 13 weeks out, but yeah, December 11th sounds like that's going to be the next date.
Who's our next guy? Who are you fighting December 11th?
I haven't even talked to the UFC, or my management hasn't even, I don't know. I messaged them, Boehner the other day saying, what's up? They haven't said anything, so I don't have any idea.
I think it's going to be Sean O'Malley against Paddy Pimblett, the fight everyone's talking about.
I think that could be a potential super fight down the line.
What's the beef there? You're like 2 weight classes apart each other. What's the beef?
I had no idea. I didn't know of him until the UFC kind of started posting stuff about him, and I, obviously don't follow him, so I just, a bunch of people telling me, yo, Paddy's talking shit, and talking shit, so I'm not gonna not talk shit back. You know what I mean? I heard him. Yeah, look, he was talking shit. So what am I gonna not talk? I gotta talk a little shit back, right?
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't know what his beef was with me, but I mean, he's kind of as ugly and stupid as he may look, he's kind of smart. He's talking about the biggest names in UFC. I'm clearly one of the biggest draws. I'm the cash cow, and he knows that. So why not? He's got to use my name. He's got to say my name. It makes sense. It's just like I said. Look for people want to see characters. He understands that. He's gonna be a character. He's gonna say what he needs to say. He went out and performed the way he needed to, besides almost getting knocked out. I think that could be a potential big fight. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. That was my first time I've ever seen him fight. We'll see how he does against. It's similar with me. People want to see me fight top guys. People want to see him fight top guys. So we'll see how he competes with the top 50 or top 1.
You brought up something interesting there, Sean, about people wanting to see characters. I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that's part of the reason why people have been so attracted to Paddy because, as you know, everyone kind of looks the same, dressing the same, the events look the same. For someone like yourself, do you find it extra important, maybe even more so than if you were fighting 10 years ago, that you have to break through, you have to look different, you have to be different because everyone kind of looks and feels the same right now?
I think it depends on, if you want to make a lot of money or not. You be in the UFC, look the same, be a boring ass wrestler and make 20 and 20 and just kind of live that life, not sell merch, not do vlogs, not game, not do other things outside to be boring and live. You can just do that. Or you can be a character and venture off into other things and be a millionaire. It depends what you want to do. It's just different personalities.
You're clearly the one who sees that other side of the coin. You want to make that money. You want to put yourself out there. You're doing the merch thing. Is it true that you got a tattoo of you doing the jump shot? Is that a real thing, or was that a rib?
Of course that's real. If you don't have a tattoo of yourself on yourself, do you even love yourself, Ariel? You should get one.
Okay. I don't have any tattoos. Where is it? Where is it? On your arm? Oh, it's on your neck. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And where's the 6'9"?
Of course. You don't have any?
I have nothing. There's a 6'9".
Somewhere around here.
There it is.
People hate it. Yeah, they hate it.
Why?
Hates never hate it so good.
Are you being pulled over right now?
No, it looks like there's a funeral, like a fucking
yeah. All the cars.
Funeral thing.
Procession, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting a lot of hate for the tattoo?
The 6'9" tattoo, yeah, I got a lot of hate from that.
Did that bum you out?
I don't. No. No, it doesn't. I know you listen to 6'9", Ariel.
I'm not a huge 6'9" guy, if I'm being honest. I'm more of a Drake guy.
Really? I don't see that. Are you? I'm a Drake dude too. I like Drake.
Drake is the man. He
is the man.
He DM'd me recently. It's a pretty big moment in my life.
Bullshit, seriously?
I swear, yeah, it was nuts. When I was at the Jake Paul fight on TV, I quoted him because I said in the song Headlines, he says, "Someone told me I fell off. Ooh, I needed that." You know that line from Headlines? Great song.
That's honestly, Headlines is one of my favorite. That one's an oldie, but it's a banger. I love that one.
The best. Always gets me pumped up. And then, literally 5 minutes later, he DMs me. Thanks for the shout out. Thanks for the quote. I may have lost him.
That's fucking there a little bit.
Oh, did you lose me?
I'm always got to be driving when we do this.
I know, you're killing me.
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
Now I see you, but you're like a little small for some.
That's awesome.
You got all tiny on us here. We're going to fix it. I can still hear you, so I don't really care. Was there talks? What was going on with you in Submission Underground, Sean? Were you and TJ Dillashaw supposed to fight? Or grapple?
I got offered Dominic Cruz and TJ, and I said, they offered me a couple different people, but I'm not going to go grapple some random ass guys. It's going to obviously benefit me. So they offered me TJ and Dominic, and I said, hell yeah, to both those. And then Chael said, they both said, never mind, or they said no. So I don't know what really happened. Obviously communication's huge and it could be getting lost, but yeah, they offered me TJ and I said, yeah. And then TJ goes and says, I have too many holes in my game, but if I got holes in my game, why not go and choke me out real quick?
Mm-hmm.
But that was before he fought. That was before he competed recently. That was like a couple months before he competed. So I thought maybe he would want to get a little tune-up, easy choke on me, but guess not.
What do you think of his performance against Corey?
Honestly, it was one of the sweetest performances I've seen, especially coming off of, so many question marks of, is he going to have the cardio? Is he going to be able to push? Is he going to have that same mindset without needles in his butt? He did. He was mentally there for 25 minutes, hurt his knee early on, was getting pieced up early on and found a way to win. So that performance was actually very inspiring, and it was really, really impressive, really good to watch. TJ's, I was questioning. I didn't know where he'd be. I'm like, we'll see. I thought he wouldn't have that same push, that same drive, that same cardio, and he did. So I was actually very impressed with that performance.
2 months removed from your fight against Chris Moutinho, how do you feel about your performance in that fight?
Yeah, I was. It's interesting. I rewatched it, and I thought I performed even better watching it now than I watching it right after the fight. It was a short notice fight for me too. I was planning on fighting an orthodox guy. I think when you're a high level striker and you're planning on fighting a specific style, you dial in for that style. I was just planning on fighting someone, an orthodox dude. And Chris comes out southpaw. Didn't even know he was southpaw until the fight week, because I didn't watch. And so I was happy with my performance. It was I stayed focused for 14 and a half minutes. It was I threw a shit ton of punches. It was, obviously, I think I broke a couple records as far as the punch count. He didn't stop coming forward. I was happy with that performance. I thought it was a very good performance. I definitely would have liked to put his lights out. I do believe, the last 30 seconds I was nonstop throwing punches. I believe I could have put his lights out, especially with those last couple combos I was landing. But I'm overall very happy with the performance.
Were you discouraged at all at any point in the fight? You're like, man, I'm literally throwing everything at this guy. He's not going away. What do I have to do? Are you having that internal conversation?
No, I'm in the octagon. I'm not having any internal conversations. I'm just in there performing. I didn't care if, I'm in there for 15 minutes. Each fight, I plan on going 15 minutes. So it wasn't like, oh my God, this kid won't go away. It was like, holy shit, my highlight reel is going to be so fucking sweet. I can't wait to watch that. I was just nonstop bouncing my fist off his face. So, I'm not going to get discouraged. I was in excellent shape. I trained extremely hard for that fight. And I got to go out there and just prove that.
Can you just, because your situation is one of the most talked about ones in the sport. Would this be a fair assessment of your situation? Because people say, oh, you fight this guy, he's not a big name. You have a certain contract. You feel like if you're going to fight big names, I want to get paid to fight those big names. As long as I have a certain contract, why do I need to go out of my way to fight big names? If they're going to feed me other guys who aren't big names, I might as well just fight those guys and win and beef up my record. Is that a fair assessment?
At the end of the day, UFC picks. They offered me Frankie. I would love to fight Frankie. Frankie's a top 10 guy, I think, and he's a big name guy. I wouldn't have said no. No, I don't want to fight him because I want to get paid more to fight. I said, yeah, I'll fight Frankie in December 11th in Vegas. I would have loved that fight. That's the fight I was hoping for. That's the matchup I wanted. I'll also fight Dominic Cruz December 11th. That's a fight I would take. It's a top 10 guy, and I'm getting paid whatever I'm getting paid, which is, to be honest, I feel like I'm one of the biggest stars in the UFC. And if you see what I make, it's, it doesn't show that. But also I understand that UFC gives me a platform to go out there and be able to sell merch, to be able to get all these sponsors, to be able to make, it gives me eyeballs for YouTube, Twitch, merch, all these other things. So, I'm not getting paid directly from UFC a lot, but I am getting eyeballs. I'm getting money outside of it from the UFC. So it's kind of a hit or miss. It's a perspective thing. I try to choose to look at it like I'm not making the money I believe I'm worth, but I'm also making money on the outside doing other things from the UFC. So it depends how you look at it. But yeah, I think if I'm going to make the money I'm making right now, why go out there and fight, the toughest guys in the world? Why not why not fight these 3 fights fighting not the toughest guys in the world, renegotiate my contract, and then make real money fighting real tough guys? Chris Moutinho was a tough guy. Eddie Wineland was a tough guy. Thomas Almeida was a tough guy. Like, it depends. I don't know.
No.
To me, it's just like, I love fighting, and it's a business. I'm trying to make the right decisions. So yeah.
I like your perspective on what you said earlier about the platform, because you are doing the Twitch, the merch, all that stuff. OnlyFans as well too, right? Or are you done with the OnlyFans?
No, yeah, that's like the Timbo Sugar Show. Me and Tim, we're doing, anytime we go to like, we went to Cleveland, we went to Miami, we went to I've been all over LA. We do vlogs and post them on OnlyFans there, yeah. So just doing all that, just doing a bunch of extra stuff.
And is it like, are you making more off of all that stuff than you are when you fight?
I've definitely made more money doing through all the other stuff than I've made in the UFC this year. Yeah.
When do you think it will be time to even it out?
I think it's time now. It's really the options. I could probably renegotiate a contract right now with the UFC, but then I don't get offers from other places, and I'm not necessarily looking to leave. I'm not necessarily looking to go in other places, but we'll see what other opportunities present themselves. I have 3 more fights on my contract, and we'll see where it goes.
So
just going with the flow, Ariel.
It has been a while since we've seen someone of your stature kind of fight out the deal. Would it be fair to say that you want to test to see what the market is for you?
I really do plan on staying with UFC. I think I belong in the UFC, but also if I'm going to get offered twice as much money to go do something else, I love boxing. We'll see where it goes. I'm not, like I said, I love UFC. They've been nothing but great to me. And I think they're going to, after this contract's up, I don't think they'll have an issue paying me what I think I deserve, but we might be on a completely different mindset there. They might think I'm not worth $500,000 or whatever the number is. I've been on like 5 consecutive pay-per-views, and you can't tell me UFC 264 wasn't the Sugar Show. With how that all ended with the Conor hurting his foot, I was the main event that night. I was obviously Conor doesn't people buy those pay-per-views to see that, but I've been on like 5 pay-per-views in a row. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see the numbers.
And everything okay with you and the brass? I know there was all a big hullabaloo with you and Sean Shelby. All that cleared?
Yep. I said what I said on the podcast with me and my brother, the Bro Malley show. Yeah, and it was just miscommunication too, I think, a little bit. I talked to Sean Shelby the next weekend in Houston at the UFC fights. We had a good 30-minute conversation, and we're good.
Okay. All right. So it's the Bro Malley show. It's the Timbo and Suga show. The Twitch channel. You got the website up with the merch. I mean, you're a true entrepreneur. I mean, this is crazy. You're a renaissance. Look at that. Unranked. That is a good
Unranked champ, baby. The merch is fun.
Troll.
The jersey drops are fun.
Unranked is a real troll move right there.
Fun to me, man.
I like that.
I know, but it's crazy to think like the rankings just don't mean shit, really. I've never thought they really meant anything. Like if you're ranked number 15 or 14 and you're pumped about that, it's just weird to me. It's like if you're not fucking champ, you're not nothing. So
you don't get paid any different if you're ranked or not. Like if you're 15 or 17, right? Who cares?
Yeah, it really doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right. So in conclusion, you're hoping to fight December 11th. That's what I've taken away from this, but no one has been discussed. But you're down to fight a big name, Cody not fighting at 125, but a Dominic, someone like that. You're open to these big names.
Cody's fighting on that card too,
Right.
125.
Yeah.
I heard. Is it true Pedro Munoz is going to 125 too?
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Did I hear that right? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm just. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I feel like I'm the main draw at 135. I'm the biggest name at 135. So yeah, there's a lot of sweet, interesting fights at 135 that I would love to be a part of. Obviously, I want to get paid fairly. But yeah, I think I'm not too far off from fight from the title, main eventing pay-per-views.
How many more?
It's exciting times. It depends. I really want to fight these 3 fights out and then start talking big names. I mean, 3 fights seems like a lot. I fought 3 times last year. I'll fight 3 times this year. So this one will be one. Then I'll have 2 more fights on my contract. We'll see. Well, I don't think I should be main eventing for the money I'm making right now. I think I should be getting paid more. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best, Sean. Great to catch up. Good to see you a couple weeks ago. Good luck. And I know your hand was a little bit sore. Is it okay now? The knuckle, all that?
Yeah, I think it's just like a boxer's knuckle or a little nerve damage in the top knuckle from hitting him over the head 500 times. But yeah, I think it's good. It's healing up slowly, but it's healing up.
Okay. We'll get well soon, and looking forward to seeing you before the year is up.
Awesome, Ariel, you're the fucking man.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Take care. Suga Sean O'Malley, kind enough to join us here. Always good to catch up with him, and someone who has been able to break through. We talk about characters. We talk about, investing in yourself, not just being someone, hey, I'll fight anyone. No, like you got to get people to be emotionally invested in you. Now, some want to see him get beat up. Some want to see him lose. Some want to see him win. Some want to see him continue to shove it down the hater's throat. Whatever the case is, They have a take. They have a feeling. They have an investment in his journey. That's the ultimate. Our next guest is that guy too. People have an investment. They either want to see him win or lose. That's what you ultimately want. Very interesting character. And interesting to hear him say, off the Twitch, off the merch, everything that he's doing, the OnlyFans, all that stuff, he's making more than his fights. And he is definitely someone that has broken through, that the mainstream knows, wants to see him fight, wants to see him win or lose. And so 3 fights left, December 11th. That fight against Frankie Edgar would have been fun. It eventually went to Chito Vera, so that's going to be November 6th in New York. What a great card that November 6th is, huh? Luke Rockhold, like just really interesting names. Ian Gary, who we spoke to. I wonder if they'll throw old Paddy Pimblett on that card too. You want to give those guys a big platform, right? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much to Sean O'Malley. In a matter of moments, we are going to connect with one Jake Paul. That will be our last guest of the day. Want to say thank you to everyone, and I appreciate everyone who is tuning in. It's a fun time to be in the biz. It's a fun time to be covering fighting, not only MMA but boxing as well. Combat is a very interesting place these days. Kickboxing doing its thing over in the Netherlands. Alistair Overeem and Rico Verhoeven in October for Glory. Everything going on in the world of boxing, the sweet science, MMA as well. And like I said, a rare MMA slash boxing slash, there's a lot going on, but this Saturday is a rare UFC slash Strikeforce, Bellator. They're in San Jose, former home of Strikeforce, Saturday night. And in the past, I haven't liked those very much, but I like them now, especially when it's like two sort of fight night-esque. I guess maybe the Bellator one is a little bigger for Bellator because Yoel Romero, but fight night-esque cards. You got Romero here, you got Anthony Smith there, so that's going on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that as well. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Cleveland as part of that Showtime card. What a great opportunity that was to be there to witness Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, a fun fight that went the distance. And as I said at the top of the show, it seems like every single day since then, and really leading up to then, but if I'm being honest, every single day since then, once he beat Tyron Woodley and started to get that love, and I think that respect that he deserves. Like, you can say a lot about Jake Paul at this point. I don't know how you question. I was even texting, I hope he doesn't mind, with Anthony Smith about this before the show. I don't know how you can't call him a fighter. If you go 8 rounds with a former UFC champion who, yes, I know, losing streak and all that, he's still Tyron Woodley. He's still tough as all hell. You go 8 rounds with that guy, you deserve love and respect. That's just me. You step through those ropes and fight anyone. Fight Nate Robinson, you get love and respect. I'm not stepping through those ropes. The majority of you aren't stepping through those ropes. You're not going through a training camp. You're not cutting weight. You're not doing any of that. And by the way, like all the people who are hating on this and saying you don't play boxing and all that, what happened on Saturday with Evander Holyfield and Vitor Belfort, in my opinion, way more dangerous than 2 social media stars, 2 YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, fighting each other. Not a YouTuber fighting, Mike Tyson in his prime, fighting Tyson Fury, fighting each other at around the same skill set. Now, he continues to rise and went from Isan Gibb, who's a fellow, social media guy, to then Nate Robinson, to then Ben Askren, to then Tyron Woodley. So there's a progression there. But if you ask me, seeing a 58-year-old with his potential health issues just by watching him, way more concerning, way more dangerous than seeing 2 kids do this. And there is a trickle-down effect, and there is a positive byproduct if it's done in a safe, healthy, nice little neat way, because a lot of people are coming up to me now talking about boxing, talking about these people, talking about these fighters. And then the hope is if you build the card the right way, as opposed to some of those other cards. And look, I see some people trying to take shots. I don't work for Showtime. That was a one-off. I was brought in probably because I'm the MMA guy. I have no skin in this game. So I see people saying like, oh, look at you hating on the Triller card. If we're going to compare that Triller card on Saturday to the Showtime card of a couple of weeks ago, if you're actually going to say that that's apples to apples, you're a clown. You're an absolute clown. David Haye versus Joe Fournier, you're going to compare that to Montana Love versus Ivan Baranchyk. You're going to compare that to Daniel Dubois. You're going to compare that to Amanda Serrano. You're going to compare that to Tommy Fury, who I know is still raw and young and green. You're actually going to do that with a straight face? You can't do that. Like, let's call it like it is. Let's be honest. Let's be straight shooters here. Those were completely different cards. And yes, I know myself and Donald Trump are sort of on the same level in terms of our popularity is concerned. But, even the broadcast was a little bit different. So if you build the cards the right way, there's a huge benefit to the real boxers that you guys want to talk about, the real fighters, right? The ones who put in the time, who put in the work, who put in the blood, sweat, and tears for years in their gym. Because I can assure you, let's say 500, 600, 700,000 people, I don't know the number, but let's say it's somewhere in that ballpark, watched a couple weeks ago in Cleveland. A lot more people know who these people are now. A lot more casual fans know who Montana Love is, who Amanda Serrano is, who Daniel Dubois. That's how you build this. That's how you do it. That's what I was talking about earlier with the Triller cards. What is the game plan? What is the mindset? What is the blueprint? Because, okay, the whole point of this whole thing, I remember many moons ago, I spoke to Joe Silva, longtime UFC matchmaker. And he told me, I never will forget this because it was so smart. And I didn't look at fighting in this particular way. He said to me, this is when he was actual matchmaker back in the day. He said, my job isn't to build champions. My job is to build contenders, is to get you interested in the guys who are queuing up to fight the champions. And then eventually someone's going to become a champion. Eventually someone's going to become a draw and you're going to want to watch this guy fight, whatever. But my job as a matchmaker is to build contenders so that you are interested in all their journeys leading up to the belt. And so that should be really, in my opinion, what a matchmaker is doing, right? That should be the ultimate goal of an event. Build up stars, build up contenders, build up fighters that you want to watch, and then watch the next time and the next time, and you come back for more and more and more. And so when I watch these one-off events, I'm wondering, okay, like what are we building towards? Is maybe Vitor is that guy? Maybe he's that first guy because he's the one thread that we'll see. I don't know. But you watch that card on Saturday, like in a silo, all by itself. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, great. 4 hours, nothing else to watch. I don't like college football. Great. Some nostalgia, some wackiness. Awesome. But what are we building towards? What's the end goal here? How does this card lead to the next one and the next one? Who's the guy on this card that you want to watch next? Anderson, honestly, might be that guy. And I find it weird. Again, I don't want this to come across like I'm just trying to tell it like it is. This is me speaking from the heart. It's like I said about the fighter pay stuff last week with Dana and his comments. It's not personal. It's because I love this sport and I love fighting. I love everything about fighting. It's not like I'm trying to start anything. I'm not trying to start fights or instigate or stir the pot. It's because I love fighting. If I'm watching that card on Saturday, to me, the guy that I'm most invested in is Anderson Silva. He's a legend. And yet, at the end, it's Vitor at the end there, and they're saying like, hey, 30 million and this and that. I'm like, wait, Anderson just fought on the co-main. That's the guy that you should be pushing. Like, there's a story here. If I'm Showtime, I don't know what Anderson's deal is with these guys. Like, if I'm Showtime, I'm investing in the Anderson Silva boxing journey. I'm getting him on the next big card and having him fight another boxer, and let's see how far this can go. That's how we build something up. And that was a weird one to me. Like, Anderson, I don't think anyone would deny, is a bigger star than Vitor ever was. And yet at the end, it was like It was like the Vitor show, and it was strange, and it was very contradictory to what we had heard the previous week. Disney, YouTube, this, and then the first name that comes out is Jake. I was surprised by it. I thought he was going to be dismissive, and then it was like, hey, stop running. Crazy. It was crazy. Anyway, without further ado, let's talk to the man that I was just talking about, making his MMA Hour debut. We go back to the Zoom machine one last time and say hello to the problem child, the most talked about man in combat sports. There he is. Jake Paul, how are you?
I'm doing good, Ariel. Thank you for having me, man. Crushing life, honestly.
Me or you?
Both. I guess. We're doing it together.
We're doing it together, Jake. Who'd have thought? An unlikely duo here, but it's great to have you on for the first time. I appreciate it live, so no one can edit anything that you say here, Jake. I just want to let you know it's live and unfiltered. I hope you're comfortable with that.
No problem. No problem. I'm used to doing live shows from my Disney Channel era, so you know how it is. I'm used to this. Let's go, baby.
Okay. I was saying I don't know if a day goes by where you don't get called out by someone. It feels like every single day you're getting called out by a different character. At this point, do you just wait for the call? Do you laugh? Like, how do you react to this?
I honestly, it's weird, man. I feel like a sexy girl, a hot girl, because all of these grown men are just throwing themselves at me, begging for my attention, begging for me to notice them. It's comical. I laugh at most of them, and to be honest, I can't even keep track of it. It's too many fighters all at once, and I get it. Look, I'm the money fight now, right? That's the fight where you get the most clout. Anyone that I fight, they get paid. They get a ton of clout, and they get a ton of brand sponsorships, and they become the talk of the fight world for a long time. So everyone's just begging for it. It's kind of funny.
At least for the time being, you will be somewhat tied to the Triller brand because you had your 2 fights over there. Did you watch the card on Saturday?
I saw the highlights of it. I saw like the tail end. Kind of crazy, man. Kind of all over the place with how that broadcast was. I love Bobby over there, and Triller was nothing but good to me. I don't know. It just seems a little bit desperate with like them getting Vitor to call me out. It's like clout chasing. This guy has been in my DMs since 2017, begging for a fight. And then I'm sitting at Ohio State NCAA championship football game, and he's like in the stands, comes running up to me with his son. His son asked for a picture, and he's like sitting there looking at me like kind of mad. And I'm like, what's going on, sir? Is everything okay? And he wouldn't leave. And he said, do you recognize me? And I said, just out of respect, I said, you look kind of familiar. And he's like, I'm Vitor Belfort. I've been thinking about it. And he starts to go on this 5-minute pitch about why we should fight. And I'm like, dude, now like I'm watching a football game. Like, please leave me alone, old man. And since that day, he's been obsessed with this idea of fighting me. And it's just kind of embarrassing. Look, he beat up an old man. He disrespected the sport of boxing, in my opinion. Like, Holyfield is a legend, but he shouldn't be fighting somebody who's in their early 40s. It should be Mike Tyson versus Holyfield or something like that. It was just sad to see, I think, the whole entire thing.
Were you surprised that it ended like that with this $30 million bet from Triller and Vitor after he was kind of dismissing you all week, saying you're the Disney guy and all this stuff, and then they go and say, stop running, Thanksgiving, 1-year anniversary of the first show, let's go, 30 million, winner take all. Did that surprise you, or did you think that something like that was coming?
I honestly didn't think that was coming. And it's surprising because it's like, let's be honest, we know that they don't have that money to put up. So it's smart on their end because they get the clout. Now we're talking about Triller. Now we're talking about Vitor. So, that's how this industry works, right? But we know that they don't have that money, and so it's very outlandish for them to say that. If they, showed proof of funds and put the money into a bank account, it'd be a whole different story. But we've worked with them, and we know that they don't have that much money.
So if they did that, like, are you interested in this fight at all? Are you interested in that matchup?
I mean, it's a bit ridiculous. I think there's better people out there. Like you were saying, like Vitor is not that big of a name. He just isn't, you know, and he's not even as big of a name as Tyron. So I'm trying to get bigger with each one of these fights. I'm trying to have more like of a challenge. I think Vitor is a lot easier of a fight than Tyron. He's older. You know, he's on steroids and such, but you know, that doesn't really excite me that much. The money excites me. If they would put the money into a bank account, an escrow account, and show proof, then maybe that's where the conversation could start. But it's not as big of a fight as the 10 other people that are calling me out or that we're even already talking to.
Could you even work with them? I mean, aren't you a Showtime guy?
No, exactly. I think, though, you know, there's always, when there's dollar signs, you know how it is. I think that's why I love working with Showtime, is because they're flexible. They see how the sport is changing and how it's evolving. So it's really not even possible. I'd have to get Steven Espinosa's permission. But I would say, look, Steven, like, let's go rob the bank. And I'm sure he would be down for that. We'll see what happens, but that's very low possibility, honestly.
Did things end well with you and Triller? You know, the Teofimo thing is a little bit weird. Evander was like in a legal dispute, and then all of a sudden, as far as you're concerned, your relationship with those guys, were you able to end on somewhat good terms with them? Are you cool?
Yeah, good terms. Yeah, everything ended good. I have no bad things to say about them. I think they're a young company with a lot to learn, and some stuff slips through the cracks, but no hate. Like, they've done a good job, and you know, like I said, I love Bobby over there. He's the homie. So
who's Bobby? What's his last name?
Bobby Savar. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Savarnis.
Like, what's his
He's
role?
got a tough last name. He's the COO.
Okay. All right.
So Chief Operating Officer.
So the big story, I think, coming out of that show, and then we'll transition obviously to a ton of other things, but it seems like everyone's like Anderson versus Jake. Anderson's doing boxing. I think Anderson's the bigger name. It almost feels like he's the final boss of this, you know, Jake Paul MMA journey. Do you have any interest in fighting Anderson Silva?
I think it'd be a huge fight for sure. He's a legend of the sport. Great head movement, great striking. For me, I would love it. I have nothing but respect for Anderson. I watched him growing up and was a fan of his growing up. So it'd be cool to, you know, sort of get in there and see what would happen. However, there is the side of it that's like, he's 46 or 47 years old. And so for me, I would want him to go through lots of testing to make sure that he's actually good to get into the ring. I wouldn't want some shit that just happened with like Vitor and Holyfield. He's like 22, 23 years older than me. So he's out there looking good against these older guys, you know, Tito Ortiz and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I'm sorry, but I'm built different, you know, so it would be a lot of punishment for him, and I wouldn't want to take out the old guy. And part of me is like, you know, there's a thing about Jake Paul fighting old guys and like, oh, retired guys, and Ben Askren and Tyron and whatever. People are trying to make excuses. You know, Floyd Mayweather's 40-something years old when he beat Conor McGregor, but when I fight a 39-year-old, people get mad. So part of me is like, if I were to just fight Anderson Silva again, everyone would just be like, oh, just another old guy after I beat him. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation because, you know, if you win, you're like, oh, he's just the old guy, whatever. He's retired, he's washed up. So I don't know, but definitely could be interesting if he undergoes the testing and we could figure something out. You know, I think our teams are talking a bit, but we'll see.
For the next one or down the line?
That's what we're figuring out.
Okay.
With my manager, Nikisa, you know, we're talking to multiple different people right now, like 4 different parties, 4 different fighters, and then seeing which one really makes the most sense from a business standpoint. We sort of start there of like what makes the most sense for Jake Paul's career and like who is the next big challenge with a big name that could sell a lot of pay-per-views. So we're exploring our options, and some of these fighters, when you go to talk to them, they like to price themselves out or ask for way too much money, and that's sort of their excuse for not making the fight happen.
Ah, okay. So if it was up to you, your call, money aside, challenge-wise, who's at the top of the list? Who would be your choice for the next opponent?
I mean, honestly, just from a personal standpoint, I would love for it to be Masvidal. Just because of the shit talk, just because of his name, just because he's like still in his prime era. And there's a lot of personal beef there. I just took out his boy Tyron. But, hopefully Dana would let him out of his contract. But we're not sure if that can happen. But for me personally, I think that'd be the toughest challenge, the toughest guy, and the biggest name, the most relevant currently. So I think that's the one to make, and I think it'll happen at some point regardless, but that's the top of my list for sure.
Is that one of the options you're exploring? I mean, they have worked, UFC has worked with Showtime in the past, as you know, Mayweather McGregor. Is it possible that they could be a part of this and make the Masvidal-Jake Paul fight?
We'll see. His dad, Dana White, just has to let him, right? And that's what it comes down to. So, Dana wouldn't like let GSP fight, in that Triller Fight Club or whatever that he was trying to do. Dana blocked him from doing that. So, Dana's just blocking everyone. He's being greedy. I think he's starting to realize like I'm embarrassing a lot of his UFC fighters. So it's a bad look for him, but there is money to be made. So we'll see what ends up happening for sure.
Are you officially off Tyron Woodley? Are you moving on from Woodley? Because, we had that moment in the ring. It's done?
It's done. Chalk it up to the game. The guy wasn't a man of his word, and he didn't get the tattoo. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, if he would have, the next day or even the days after, got in a tattoo chair, posted that shit on Instagram, it would have gotten 10 million views. People would have been like, oh, this is hilarious. You have to do the rematch. You have to do the rematch. You have to do the rematch. And then I would have been like, I kind of have to do the rematch. But now he's like, no, not until you sign the contract. I'll get the tattoo. Like, that wasn't even the bet in the first place. It was the loser gets the tattoo. So he's just not playing his cards smart, and the hype has sort of died down. And for me, it's on to the next one.
I'm assuming you've rewatched the fight, right?
I honestly have not watched it yet.
Really?
Dude, I've been just trying to relax. I've been fighting nonstop, going back and forth into these fight camps. My whole life has been boxing. So for the past 2 weeks now, I've just done everything besides work. So this is the first time I've really sat down on a Monday and gotten back to work, gotten back to the thick of things. I plan on watching it, but I've seen the highlights. I've seen the replays, but I haven't actually watched the broadcast back.
I was just the reason I asked was 2 weeks removed. How do you feel about it? What's your assessment of it without watching now, of course?
Yeah, I mean, just from what I've seen, look, I fought a good fight. I really did, and I was doing a lot of good things to take away his offense. I was in control the whole entire fight. Even watching it back, I would say I won all 8 rounds. Even in the one in the 4th round where he clipped me with that one shot, it wasn't even a hard shot. I was throwing a check hook and coming all the way backwards, and I was already off balance, and he hit me with his famous knockout shot, and it stumbled me back into the ropes. And 10 seconds later, I throw an overhand right and wobble him, catch him by the ropes. So I think the judges looked at that round and like saw me going to the ropes and like gave it to him. But even in that round, I was more efficient. So there's a lot of things I didn't do that we worked on in camp. I think when you get in that was my first time going into deep waters. So I learned so much, got so much experience from that. And if I would have graded myself, I'd give myself a B-. There's so many things that I could have done better. I went into the fight with a hyperextended elbow. So I hyperextended it a week before the fight in sparring, and couldn't spar close enough to the fight like I usually do. Couldn't even hit the mitts up until like 2 days before the fight. So my timing was a little bit weird. And then in the third round, I like hyperextended it on a punch. It didn't hurt too bad just because my adrenaline's going like crazy. But all of these things added up. The crowd, the family, the most amount of media and interviews I've ever done. It all adds up slowly. So learned a lot, but got the job done pretty easily. Didn't take any damage besides one little hit. But this is boxing, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to test myself and have a tough guy. So that's the end result, and I'm happy with it.
With regards to the elbow, did you consider delaying the fight, rescheduling it? Was it that bad?
At one point, it was like, I remember it was like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I woke up and it was like still fucked. Like I could barely move it. And I was like, I'm going to wait one more day and we might have to like have a conversation about delaying this. But there was just it'd be too hard to move. And I'm just like, bro, fuck it. I know I was going to beat him anyways. Even if I did hyperextend it in the fight, which is what happened, I knew I would still win.
Why did you on Twitter retire the next day?
Just having fun, just fucking around, honestly.
You had no real intention of retiring, right? You were just messing.
No real intention. I just think it's funny. Like, I didn't think it would freak people out that much. I was really, I think I was probably drunk and just like, I'm retiring. And everyone freaked out. Like, everyone was calling the managers and the PR teams and everyone being like, what's going on here? Did he really retire? And I was like, wow, I didn't expect this much of a reaction. So that's why the next day I was like, updated status coming out of retirement.
Well, I joke that now you became an official fighter. You retired, unretired. Like, that's part of the process of becoming a boxer or a fighter. I didn't think that it was that you were being serious, that it was real. Although I did want to ask you about something that I've been thinking about since your fight, especially what you said in the ring afterwards to me. You were talking about, wanting the break and time off, and you've been training so long and all this stuff. And as you know, most people get into fighting to become millionaires. Most people get into fighting with dreams of having a better life for their family, for their kids, etc. You came into fighting already a very rich man. And so I'm wondering, at some point, I talk often about the satin sheets thing that Marvin Hagler once said. It's hard to wake up when you're sleeping in satin sheets and pound the pavement at 5 a.m. This is the thing that people are saying Conor McGregor is going through right now. He just doesn't have that fire anymore. You make that money. We see it in all facets, especially in combat. You have all that already. So at some point, is it going to hit you like, man, I don't need to spar. What do I need to cut weight for? What do I need to have a training camp for? Like, I'm good. I made it. What's the point in all of this? And that's why I wonder if you'll have a 10, 15 fight career, because at some point, like these 8-round fights, 10-round fights, 12-round fights are going to become a little less fun when you're already breaking bank. Do you get what I'm saying? Is that something that you've worried about? Or maybe the plan isn't to go 10 fights and you're just going to do this for a couple more and then you're done?
Yeah, no, I've had this thought for sure. And it's really weird. After this fight, I felt very different and almost like unfulfilled for some reason. Even like right when the like wire hit my account, normally I'm like, oh, this is dope. Like the money and I think the clout and the fame isn't what is fulfilling me anymore. And I'm finding more fulfillment in the actual process and the actual sport and the actual art of boxing, because something about it I just love. Like it's like you're living a real life movie, a real life boxing movie. And I feel like I'm Rocky with the movement that I'm creating and how many people are doubting me and saying I can't do this and saying I can't become anything. It's motivating more to just keep on winning and to prove to people my skill. So, the money's great and blah, 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 but at this point, it isn't fulfilling me. And the money never really fulfilled me in the sport since the beginning. And now I'm finding like a new love, a new passion to actually just master the craft of the sport. And it's almost become like a hobby, which is why I love it. And all the little details to attention into the skill is and getting 1% better every single day. That's what I'm in love with right now. We'll see how that changes over the next couple of fights, but I'm young. Like people forget I'm 24 years old and, just getting warmed up with what I can accomplish in this sport. And I think that's what I'm falling in love with more is the making of the history and mastering the craft.
So you don't have a cap in your mind? 2 fights and I'm done, 3 fights and I'm done, this age and I'm done?
I don't think so. I think deep in the back of my mind, like, what am I, 4-0? Yeah. So I've always thought it'd be dope to get to 10-0 and then just call it there. So that's 6 more fights, but I've done 4 fights in 2 years and it went by like this. So who knows, honestly? Like I'm figuring this out as I go, and part of me wants to become a world champion just to say I did it and to prove everyone wrong, which would just, like, if you think about it on so many different levels, it'd just be hilarious and like it'd be historic. So I would just like get the belt and be like, yo, I became a world champion, and then kick the belt into the fucking crowd and not give a fuck about it and be like, yo, fuck all of you guys who doubted me. I just became a world champion for the fuck of it, and now I'm retiring.
After the fight,
the thing I will say that the hard part about it is most fighters, like, that's all they can do is fight. For me, like, I'm so business savvy and I run a venture capital fund. I make investments. I'm big into crypto. I buy NFTs, all of these products that, I work on behind the scenes. It's tempting because there's billions of dollars there, but I'm just like, yo, I could do that after I'm done fighting, when I'm a little bit older. But it is tempting to just be like, yo, yeah.
You're good.
I don't need to do it.
You're Gucci, as they say.
Yes.
Yes, that's I have some.
No.
I'm not that. I'm still in my 30s. Are you going to fight again in 2011? 2021. Sorry, 2021. I was going back to when I was really hip. 2011.
Yeah, maybe. What is it? September 13th now. We'll see how the cookie crumbles with all of these conversations that are going on. I think there's a lot that goes into it, especially with Showtime. They have a lot of fights already happening. So I think it just depends on the schedule and who we end up wanting to fight and signing a deal with.
But there isn't a part of you who's like, I'm taking the rest of the year off. Like, you would be open to it if the stars align.
I would be open to it if the stars align, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Why not? Get back in shape and just send it. If I say I'm a pro boxer, then might as well be a pro boxer. And, a lot of these, I think boxing needs me to fight again this year, just because a lot of these big fights aren't happening because of COVID, or everything's getting rescheduled, or, they can't make Joshua versus Fury happen. So I think boxing needs me to fight again. And, I partially feel a responsibility to help this sport grow now.
After the fight, there was a bit of a run-in with Tommy Fury, caught on camera. BT Sport was there. What was that all about?
I don't even know. It was kind of cheesy. It was actually really kind of corny. I was just tired and going back to my locker room, and he was waiting for me with his with his little camera guy or whatever, BT Sport, or I don't even know. They were just like waiting, like trying to set something up. And I was just like, bro, like, I don't really want to talk right now. And then so I was going to like sit there and talk just because, and his teammate like tried to push my brother, and my coach like threw him across, or my security guard threw him across the hallway. And so it was like about to turn into another fist fight. And I was like, bro, like I'm good. Like, I don't really want to fight this. So it was just kind of cheesy. And like, again, it's Tommy Fury just trying to get the clout, trying to lock down his fight, right? That's the thing that could make his career right now, is fighting Jake Paul. And, you know, he would get so much clout off of that, the biggest payday of his life. And, you know, that's an option. I think it would be great to fight a quote unquote real boxer, because that's what people are saying, is like, fight a real boxer, fight a real boxer. Okay, dude, I no problem. But his team has to be smart with their negotiations and not fuck around if they want to make it happen. He's one of the fighters that I'm talking about where like they can just try to price themselves out.
So he is in the mix?
Yes, he's one of the people that we're talking to.
Can you tell us who all the people are that you're talking to? Just, you know, just to get it all out there.
I would rather not.
Okay.
I would rather not. I think, you know, the obvious ones that are on the table, it's like, yeah, like Tommy Anderson. Like there is a discussion with Vitor's team, just because we're so close to Triller. So we're like, they're pinging us all the time. But there's some names that are interesting that are more complicated that I just don't want to jinx anything.
Okay, fair enough. Can you explain me from the business standpoint, just a couple of things? The numbers came out in terms of the purses, and it was listed at the top of like donations from Jake, and everyone had these bigger numbers than they usually get. What was that all about? You said you wanted everyone, and then I think Tommy said he declined it. What was that?
Yeah, so that was like before the fight. There was like a couple of fighters who like were wanting more money with because they were getting offers on different cards or some shit, and something to do with me donating my like a part of that to the various different fighters, just to like incentivize them more. But that happened like way before the fight, and I think the news of it just came out right after the fight. But that was a conversation with Steven Espinoza and Nikisa like months before, when we were lining people up to be on the card. I was like, okay, I'll take less pay to get these doper people on the card. And so that's when it started. And then I think there was like a sheet that came out. I didn't really look at the actual numbers, but yeah, from day one, I was like, yo, I'll take less money so that everyone else gets paid more on this card.
One of those people, Amanda Serrano. What is the relationship now? Are you guys in business with her? Because she referred, well, she has like a Twitter account, but it says Serrano Sisters, but I'm assuming it was her speaking or writing when she did it, that she called you guys like business partners. Are you promoting her now? Is MVP promoting her? What's the status?
Yeah, so you know, we're excited to announce that we're going to be working with Amanda Serrano, who is one of the greatest female pound for pound fighters of all time, and we are actively in talks with Eddie Hearn, and Most Valuable Promotions, which is my promotions company, to try and figure out Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor to make it like the biggest women's boxing fight of all time.
Wow. So you guys are talking now. So is Nikki, is she no longer with Lou DiBella?
I think it's going to be in partnership.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think they were, I think their deal was up, and we might be using them to help because they just know her career, you know, just as good as anyone else. So I think it's going to be like a joint partnership.
Are sorry to interrupt.
But no. But I think that's like what we're finalizing now, you know, with the contract.
So as far as MVP, your promotional company, you, Nikisa, the whole team, are you guys going to sign other fighters now? It's not just the Jake Paul show. Is that the plan?
Yeah. That's part of the plan. we want to do it in a different way though. Like we don't necessarily want to be mixed up in the weeds of being like a typical promoter. I think we more so want to be like on the management side and on the advisory side, because I think that's where we can, provide more help. And on the promotional side of just like acting like a promoter, but not actually being one with, posting on social media and YouTube and Twitter. That's really what matters now for fighters, right? Is getting their names out there on social media. That's how they translate to pay-per-view buys. So that's where I come in, and that's our differentiating factor. But we don't want it to be a bunch of people. Like, it's going to be very exclusive, and it's not going to be a big roster. And everyone that we sign has to be a superstar, or we see something in them to become a superstar. But very, very excited for that, and just to grow the sport, and to grow some younger fighters who deserve to have a bigger platform.
Serrano, Katie Taylor at MSG would be gigantic. Puerto Rico, Ireland, maybe put a little Jake Paul action at the top. I mean, that would be a very big deal. I'll hit you with a couple quick ones, and then I'll let you go. Again, thank you for the time, Jake. I appreciate it very much. Can you clear up the drug testing thing for us? Tyron said he wasn't sure what was going on fight night. Did you get drug tested? What happened?
Yeah, no, I got drug tested. Peed in the cup, did the whole 9 yards. I mean, the usual. Again, he's like coming up with any excuse for losing. Honestly, it's pretty embarrassing.
Nathan Diaz, is that one of the names in the mix?
I can't. I don't want to jinx anything, Ariel.
Okay, fair enough. Something crazy just happened. Vitor just texted me in the middle of this interview. Do you want me to read it or no? I want to be respectful to the guest. Do you want me to, he literally just texted me at 4:05 Eastern. It just popped up on my screen. Read it or no?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's read it.
Quote, tell my son to don't run away, to meet his big daddy. There's no way out. I got 30 million, winner take all.
Cool. Put it into escrow. No problem. Like, let's see the proof of funds in escrow. And, the notion that these MMA fighters think that I'm scared of them is funny, or that I'm running away. Like, dude, guys, I have fought 4 times in the past 2 years. That you can't really even fight more than that if you're doing big fights. Like, I am going back to back on these bitch ass MMA fighters. Like, line them up. I will take all of them down. You guys cannot box. I outboxed a 5-time UFC fucking champion. Vitor Belfort didn't even get close to winning that many championships. The notion that you guys are scared, you guys cannot box for shit. There was not one moment in the fight where Tyron was outboxing me. Not one. The notion that you guys are scared, I just took on one of your best fighters, Hall of Fame of all time, and shit all over him on a bad night with a hyperextended elbow. So fuck all of you.
That is a promo. I do have to give you props, Jake. I saw you on, I believe it's called the Full Send podcast. I'm Canadian, they're Canadian. I mean, I don't know if that podcast was sponsored by Dana White or what, but I mean, they were hitting you. I mean, there's a lot of haterade going on there. It was very clear where the slant was coming from. I thought you handled yourself very well, but it was a lot. I mean, kudos to them for, coming correct with their love affair with him and calling him the greatest thing since sliced bread. It was a little strange to me how many times they had to repeat that. But the reason I bring it up is because you told a story about Floyd Mayweather. Is he actively looking for you, or is that all good?
No, I think that's squashed. I think it was squashed a little before my brother's fight, and then afterwards, everything was all good. I think just the heat of the moment when I took his hat, he was definitely searching for me. But it's all good. That's the name of the game, right? You're the real ones, the gangsters of the fight world, the mafia, whatever they are, they're gonna come out and try to prove themselves on the street.
So for now, in conclusion, you're talking. There are options out there in the fight game. I'm assuming you know how the pay-per-view did. You're happy with it?
I'm very happy with it. No fighter who is in their 4th fight in the history of the sport does numbers anywhere near that. This numbers are still coming in, by the way, like truth be told, from the actual pay-per-view, the digital numbers we have, but the actual pay-per-view numbers are still trickling in. And, you know, the rumor on the street is that it's the second biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Wow.
So couldn't be happier.
And you're looking at the options, location. You don't have that in mind. You don't have that at the top. You're just kind of you're in the feeling out process right now, right? Is that fair?
Yep, exactly. Just figuring out who, when, and where, and trying to make something happen. Because why not? You know, why not like keep on fighting these guys? Fuck it.
It is interesting though. We talked about Jorge, Vitor, Nathan. You smiled at Anderson. Tommy's but it's a lot of MMA guys. Unless you're holding out on some boxing guys from me, it feels like maybe the MMA thing is going to continue.
Perhaps. You know, the audience there is just so strong, and the names there are bigger, right? We're taking the years of hard work that the UFC put into promoting these guys, and they have big names. So, you know, a lot of times on the boxing side, there's not as many big names. There's just not when you compare apples to apples. So it's a little bit harder to make a fight, but we'll see what happens.
Congrats on everything, man. Keep doing your thing. It's a lot of fun. You have breathed a lot of new life and excitement into this sport. And I said it earlier, there's a trickle-down effect. If they use you the right way, which I think the last card did, now you got guys like Montana Love and Serrano and Dubois and Fury who are all getting a lot more attention and a lot more money thanks to you. And this is not me kissing. It's just, if you're not acknowledging this, you're just being a hater, in my opinion. And so I don't see how anyone can say you're bad for boxing, bad for combat. In fact, I have a lot of respect for you for stepping through the ropes. So congrats, much respect, and thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ariel. Have a good day, man.
All right, there he is, the one and only Jake Paul, the problem child, kind enough to join us. A very interesting story to watch, to see how it all unfolds over the next few weeks. Interesting names. And yes, that really did happen. Vitor texted me in the middle of the interview. There it is. Tell my son, don't run away to meet his big daddy. I got 30 million, winner take all. Fascinating times in the world of combat, my friends. Fascinating times in the world of combat. Again, if done correctly, if done the right way, if built the right way, there is a method to the madness. More cards like a couple of weeks ago, less, 58-year-olds getting beat up. I think we can all agree on that. I want to let you know we're back on Wednesday. We are back on Wednesday with more big names. We're not stopping. The Helwani era continues to roll on. We ain't going anywhere. 2 a week. Independent Helwani? I mean, come on. Did you get the merch? Have you jumped on board the bandwagon? Twice a week now. Remember, back to back. Like Drake once said, we going back to back. Now, technically, it's not back to back because there's a Tuesday in the middle there, but you get the point. Wednesday, 1 to whenever we choose. Infinite amount of time. I could sit here till 7 if I wanted to. I wouldn't dare do that to the people behind that wall. But if I wanted to, I could probably ask permission to do so. And then after the show on Wednesday, I got to fast. The Day of Atonement. And Lord knows, according to a lot of you out there, according to the narrative, Lord knows that I got a lot of atoning to do because I'm a bad guy. I'm a very bad man. So I will be doing that Wednesday going into Thursday. All day, 25 hours. No food, no water, no nothing. To atone for the narrative of me being a bad man. That's right. For now, though, I'm out of time. It is time to go home. Frank, you can hit my music. There it is. What a life. What a life. I get to sit here for 3 hours on a Monday and Wednesday talking to some of the most interesting people on the planet. Glover Teixeira, Gable Steveson, Luke Rockhold, Suga Sean O'Malley, Jake Paul. Where can you find this eclectic mix of badasses on one show, giving it to you raw, unfiltered, unfazed, uncensored? Where do you get that? Tell me where you get that. You don't get that anywhere. Nowhere. You don't get that anywhere. That's why it's 10/7 all day, every day. It's not a gimmick. It's a lifestyle. Jump on board. You all know you want to. You all have a little Hilwani in ya. And I'm accepting everyone on the train. So happy to be here. I like to sniff this desk before I leave. I like to sniff it and touch it. Sometimes even eat my food off of this desk. You know why? Because it's so good to be back. I feel alive. I feel like I got my voice back, my smile back, my chest is puffed out, my confidence is back. It feels so good to be back doing this show. Love it. Nothing I'd rather do on a Monday afternoon. In any event, thanks to all our guests. Thanks to all of you who watched. Thank you for downloading, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff and more. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Back on Wednesday, same time and place. Until I say peace.